Jags to play again. I wish the Jags were playing tonight. Wish they'd play again tomorrow. Saturday and Sunday. You know what else I can't stand? I can't stand when people are late. That's unbelievable.
Hey, you know what's crazy? That I'm about a minute late and we have to call everybody out on it. But then when Brent's late and I have to take over for him, we have to act like he's not here. And that's happened, I don't know, about 8 times during the show so far. Not this show, but.
Yeah, the whole. But hey, you ask people that have been around me. And 8 times in the course of 10 months is pretty damn good.
You know, it's really good. It's impressive.
It's unbelievable. In fact, it's the upset of the century.
Yeah.
Is that I'm here most times
For sure.
on time.
Well, I'm just glad somebody was here on time today because we would like to have Coos do the show.
Yeah, you weren't really late. Like I have a respect for people that are late, quite frankly.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm glad to get some of your respect. I've been trying for the past 8 months now.
Martin Buckley, we had him on from Palm Beach Autographs the other day.
Sure.
And so he was coming in, and he said, let's see how their text chain went. He said, hey, a few minutes behind. Shocked? I said, okay, I respect it. And he said, game recognizes game.
Very nice. Yeah, I apologize. Had to go back because my food order got mixed up, and I had to go back and straighten that up a little bit. I'm not going to see who it's from because we may have talked about it on the show before.
It happens.
Yeah.
By the way, so are you like stressed out guy when you're coming in late? And you're like, oh man, not gonna have my food.
I don't like to be late. You know, I take pride in being on time.
You guys are trained like that in the professional ranks.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially like anything work related. Like if it's like a party or something, I can be late. I'm not gonna worry about it. But anything work related, like football or
good
ESPN
for you.
690,
It is. I have many flaws. It is my number one flaw.
Being late?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I would, if I'm going to even show up early, I got to work today. I got in this building today at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was late for a meeting, 1:15. So
late for a meeting, all right.
Yeah, I actually had to push that one on hold. But that was because somebody else was late. But I don't want to hear those excuses. But anyway,
sure.
Anyway, I would rather, though, say I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's 2:50. And I could come up here and sit up here for 10 minutes or go downstairs and get another thing or two done and then risk being 2:59 or 3 o'clock. I'm the guy that would go risk. I just risk it all the time. Like, I'd rather go get one more thing done.
Risk it for the biscuit, man. You got to.
Yeah, and that's my flaw. It's a big-time flaw. And, they have these things all the time. There's a guy on Twitter I really like to retweet. He's like he's big on like the successes of life. Hey, if you keep moving my camera, people aren't going to be able to see.
It's going to be all right, man. My bad.
Geez, this is a working operation here.
Well, and it's funny because like every single day the cameras that we have, they either get closer to me or more farther away.
I think your hands get longer.
Maybe my hands are getting longer. That's good for fighting.
But anyway, there's these sayings. I kind of like them. I'm a sucker for them. Kind of like the wave and maybe parody songs.
Sure.
But they always have these lists. There's like this list of 5 things or 10 things that make like successful people.
Yeah.
And freaking every time, number 1 or 2 or 3 is being on time.
Okay.
I'm like, come on, man. Do you have to do that? I'll take the rest of the 9.
Yeah.
But I don't like the 1.
So
can we put it at the back of the bus?
So be honest. Do you have a Pinterest account?
No.
Is that where these quotes are coming from?
No. I like this guy. Brent. Somebody turned me on to this guy before his.
Brent's got a Pinterest account. It's cool.
No, I don't. His name is. I don't know what he does. Like, he's always tweeting this stuff.
He retweets quotes. He
Vala
takes.
Afshar.
Okay.
I follow him on Twitter, and somebody told me he's a chief digital evangelist. What does that mean?
He's like a. With religion, right? It's like one of those ministers.
So maybe he is religion.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I'm just clicking on it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But
or he's in a cult.
He's a columnist.
Okay.
Huffington Post is on here.
So basically, this guy's got a Pinterest account, and he retweets quotes on his Twitter, and you're a sucker for him.
I probably am, but I like some of them. He comes up with some cool things. Like, look at this one, okay? I'm just going. He retweeted this one. Yesterday, iPhone sold in 2007, 1.39 million. He goes through all the years. iPhone sold in 2018, 217 million. So it's not just like, hey, if you want to be successful or if you want to be this or that. It's kind of some interesting things. And a lot of it is with modern technology.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Kind of like Darren Rovell, except You get a little more substance with it. No offense to Darren
No,
Ravel.
that's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's a very good call.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little positive, a little inspirational. You know, a lot of times. You know, the other one I used to follow a lot, and I don't know if I stopped following him or if he doesn't exist anymore.
I'm sure he probably blocked
And I
you.
say a he, and it might be a she, and I don't know. It might be a robot. I don't know. But there's one called Life Advice.
Okay.
And they would always have sayings, so I would share them with the kids and try to get them on the proper path.
There you go.
There we go. All right. So
how has that life advice worked so far?
Just not very good.
Okay. Yeah.
Not very good. You look at her. Kaylee's here today.
What's up, Kaylee?
Kaylee's hanging out. You know, she is all in on Jaguars All Access.
Nice.
I don't know what the heck the rest of you people are doing on Mondays and Thursdays, but Kaylee's all in on coming out and meeting the Jags, being a part of the show. She's got Jags fever.
Yeah. Who doesn't right now?
I told you last week the story, right? She signed the hat.
Yes.
Well, she brought the hat again. She's going to try to get Leonard Fournette on the hat.
You're going to have him sign our faces again? Man.
Fournette's on the show tonight. Jaguars All Access.
Very
Mellow
cool.
Mushroom at Avondale, 7
That's
o'clock.
a pretty big get right there.
It should be packed.
Third leading rusher in the NFL, Brent.
And, you know, here's the deal with Leonard Fournette. For the first few weeks of the season, nobody talks about him because everybody's talking about Jalen Ramsey and then Minshew. And people are talking about the Jags and Coughlin and Marone and all this stuff, but they're not talking about Leonard Fournette. Fournette has basically like 0 yards on Thursday Night Football until he breaks off the big run.
Yeah.
And they're struggling to run the ball a little bit. But when Leonard Fournette has a game like this, and now that you see him in the top of the AFC and top 3 in the NFL, what people sleep on a little bit is how big the star value of Leonard Fournette is across this country, too. He's a big name. Like I talk Jalen Ramsey a lot, and I leave Fournette out of this conversation because I think he has lacked some consistency. 2017, very good. 2018, not so good. He's had some not off the field, but the suspension, those kind of things that I don't think necessarily have devalued his branding, but you talk about him sometimes in a bad light.
Yeah.
Because you have to. He's been suspended for a game, or his guarantees have been taken away, or whatever it might be. But don't get it twisted, as you would say.
I like it.
This guy has mega star appeal across the country when it comes to football. Always has, from LSU and that huge fan base of LSU, and they love him there. Growing up in New Orleans, and as an NFL guy, I mean, a top 5 pick, I think he has real star potential. He just has to find consistency. If he does this, he leads the AFC in rushing. Look out now. He becomes Ramsey-esque in terms of carrying that brand with the Jags uniform on it. He's got that kind of potential.
Listen, and I've talked about it before a little bit, but anytime Lil Wayne mentions you in a rap song when you're in high school, in case you don't know who Lil Wayne is,
Yeah,
he is a rapper.
Know who Lil Wayne is.
He's a hip-hop artist.
Now, the only
Young
reason
Money.
I know Lil Wayne is because we gave away tickets.
Okay, well, fair
That's
enough.
not true.
Okay, no, I figured he's pretty popular. But yeah, he mentioned Fournette when Fournette was in high school. He mentioned him in one of his songs. So, I mean, anytime you got Weezy talking about you in high school, Brent, you're kind of destined for greatness, I feel like.
And he has been ever since he was 12 years old. He's a fascinating guy. Jaguars are about to come out with it. They went home with him this offseason. And back to New Orleans and the 7th Ward and all that. And I'm interested to see it. It looks like a really good piece. They teased it. We're going to show a little bit of it tonight, too, on Jaguars All Access and push to their – I think it's going to be on their Jags app, but either way, probably on Jaguars.com. And it'd probably be a really good story. This is a good guy. I remember we had the interview. I sat down with him before the season. He means well, man. I think my phrasing to him during that sit-down interview was, are you misunderstood? Because you have some of these kind of things that have happened. There's an ire from the fan base at times about your capability, the fact that you were top 5, the fact that you were picked and Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes was not. But then all these other things. This guy is one of the best ever, and he might be the best that I've seen in Jacksonville. Maybe. I'd have to think about it a little bit more at how he handles the fans and his relationship with the fans and the time that he takes to take a picture or sign an autograph or whatever. He's really, really good. So it's a little bit of a misunderstood kind of guy at times. So I'm looking forward to that piece coming out on Jaguars.com about going home with him. And I think it's one thing you can't relate to. These guys are not human to a lot of people. They're on their fantasy team. They're part of their betting wager on a Sunday. You know, they're just whatever, a piece of meat, which is wrong, but they are. And you know it. You lived it.
Of course.
But we can't always relate from where the guy came from, what it means to be in this position, the circle that he has around him or had around him. And every walk of life is different in the NFL, and Leonard's is a different one for sure.
And that's the biggest thing, like we've talked about it before, Brent, where he's made big strides into being a leader and kind of being a little more mature this year, whether it was going to Wyoming, training there, or like he talked about, having to kind of cut a circle of friends a little bit. And the outside looking in could be like, oh, I'd cut my circle of friends for millions and millions of dollars. Okay, very cool. I mean, it sounds easy, doesn't it? But you have to remember, not everybody comes from, a decent background. Like where Leonard Fournette grew up, I assume, I've heard of it. It's not a really great area. No. And when you come from, an area
he said 50% of the people he grew up with in his family are in prison.
Exactly. So anytime you come from that area, all you have is the friends that you grew up with, because you don't have to go through it alone, right? Like you gravitate towards kids that are struggling just like you are, and then you build friendships through that, and that's how you guys get out together, right? So the fact that he had to kind of say goodbye to some of those guys, Brent, this year, it can't be stated enough how hard that must be for him to do that. And, I think we should give him props for doing that, because obviously it's had a positive effect so far on him this year. We've seen the maturity take a step forward.
Yeah, two more thoughts on that. And maybe we'll spend a little more time on Leonard Fournette later on in the show. But two thoughts. One, I believe the hardest thing to do as a human being is change. So to get away from what you're used to, get to cut a circle of friends, to go to Wyoming, to do all these things, whether it's minimal or big. I think the hardest thing to do is change. And I think we saw a guy that, I don't know if he changed from the inside out, but at least he changed his ways to a degree of how he worked out, how he approached this year, all those different things. And I think you got to give him props for that. The other thing is, if we all say back home, right, no matter where you came from, if you say, hey, man, I hope I win that $300 million lottery someday, right?
Sure.
What's the first thing you always say? You're like, well, I'm going to give this to who?
Yeah,
right? I'm
exactly.
going to give $1 million to my sisters. I'm going to give $1 million to my mom and dad. I'm going to give $1 million to church. I'm going to give $1 million. You start saying, listen, you might say, I'm going to go buy a car, all these things. I'm go get a house. I'm going to pay off my bills. You can do all this stuff. But I think usually in there, when people dream about that kind of money, they say, yeah, but I also want to do this, 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 and help. Well, you know what? Leonard Fournette hit the lottery, man. He was a top 5 pick. And how many times along the way did he meet people, know people, grew up with people that didn't have a lot, wanted to help out? Yeah. So it's probably his instinct to do the same thing that we would do if we won a lottery ticket and a lot of money. So, again, I think it's not always relatable to people that play the game you played because they play a certain position. They have a certain amount of carries, yards, touchdowns, whatever it might be. You forget about everything else they came from and what they're made of. And you know what? To a different degree, it's got us talking Gardner Minshew every single show too, right?
Correct.
In a different kind of way.
Yes.
Guy that's been overlooked, guy that had to go to all ends of the earth to get more chances. And here we are with Minshew Mania at peak level going into week number 5 of the NFL season at Carolina. And that's where we'll begin. What happened today? What's the injury update on Gardner Minshew? Jalen Ramsey misses another practice. Let's get you caught up on the day down at Jags headquarters and what's going on as they get closer and closer to another football game, this time in Charlotte, North Carolina. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos hanging out on a Thursday. Thanks for hanging with us on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A pretty hot day today. This afternoon's high temperature will be in the upper 80s, a little bit lower at the beaches under partly sunny skies. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Outspoken Hollywood actresses, a former Nobel Prize nominee, and security and terrorism experts are coming to Jacksonville for one evening only on Saturday, October 26. Military honors will be presented for our veterans lost on September 11, 2012, while serving in Benghazi at the 7th Annual Tribute Ceremony. Music will be performed by recording artist Ann Wolfe. The tribute includes commentary from some of the most knowledgeable experts in America on our nation's security, terrorism, and its heroes. This is your chance to find out what's happening all over the country. A VIP reception to welcome prominent national speakers at Jacksonville will precede the event. You can get tickets to the special evening and the VIP reception by Googling We Can Be Heroes in Jacksonville. Discounts for seniors, veterans, and first responders are offered. Seating is limited. Please Google We Can Be Heroes in Jacksonville for tickets for the special event being held on Saturday, October 26. See you there.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website vidadelouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to vidadelouis.com.
Hey, boss.
What?
You think it's okay to get out of here yet?
No, the cops may be still patrolling around out there. Give it another 10 minutes.
Okay. Boss,
What?
you still mad at me?
Well, let's assess our situation, shall we? Here we are hiding out from the cops in this storm pipe because you neglected to determine that the house we came up on had safe touch security. Is my assessment correct?
Yeah, but I swear they didn't have Safe Touch last week.
That, I don't want to hear about it, Corn Pop. We didn't even get to the front door before the safe touch video monitoring kicked in. Now here we are, crouching in this stinking ditch.
Sorry, boss.
Just so I know you know, tell me the Crooks Are Us motto again.
Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
At least you got that right.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, and it can be your golf destination. The Golf Club at Southampton. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. The Golf Club at Southampton is where I play a lot of golf, and you can too. Enjoy your golf experience by calling 287-PLAY. Play some golf, watch some football, and oh yeah, food. They've got that too. Southampton has it all, even a special tailgate catering menu. Give Lisa a call for your tailgate catering. 287-PLAY for tee times, football, and food at the Golf Club at Southampton.
Thomas Rhett's coming to the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena on Friday, and ESPN 690 has your free tickets to the show. Listen to Action Sports Jax all this week at 4:15 for your chance to win. See Thomas Rhett live from ESPN 690.
It's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing. This is Action Sports Jax. Bang!
Shad Khan talks a little bit about Jalen Ramsey to the Associated Press yesterday, as he also begins a new television network as well. Shad Khan has a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of sticks in the fire, right? Is that what you call that?
Sure.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's amazing, pretty cool, right? Because if I was a billionaire, you have a couple of choices. You could sit there and go to the beach, go to the island, go vacation.
Yeah.
Or you could just kind of keep progressing, moving forward, trying to do new things, experience new things, and well, he's doing that. So we'll get into that a little bit in just a moment or two. I want to begin though with Gardner Minshew. Well, Ramsey we can begin with too, because Ramsey doesn't practice again today. Now Ramsey has not practiced since he has played in the Tennessee game. So if you think about it, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that week they're off. Mm-hmm. Monday, they come back. He's got the flu. Tuesday, they don't practice. Wednesday, he's got tightness in his back. He leaves for Nashville that night, doesn't practice on Thursday or Friday, rejoins the team, flies out Saturday, doesn't play in the game Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, they're off. Yesterday, tightness in the back, still not practicing. Today, not practicing.
Nicely done.
So that's what's happened. Mm-hmm. So now we're going on 2 weeks since that Thursday night football game here in Jacksonville. That was the week he requested the trade, and he has not practiced. And again, I think there's a big part of the folks out in Jacksonville and beyond that say just kind of perfect storm, circumstantial, flu, baby, back injury. Fine. I'm okay with it. I think there also is a side that says there's a reason why he hasn't practiced since that Thursday night game.
Let's be honest, though, Brent. He has had the flu.
Yeah.
He got IVs. Yeah. He was puking. he did have a baby. I don't think he posted pictures of it, but Doug Marrone confirmed that he did have a baby. So those two things were true. Now, you can call them a coincidence. You can call them kind of fishy. Doesn't matter. Those two things happened, period, end of story.
They did. And I think Doug Marrone, to me, is where, this is where I kind of say, all right, yeah, it's all on. I mean, it is what it is. This is kind of this perfect storm. It's irony here. And will I listen to the other side and say, okay, I can see where you're coming from? But Doug Marrone continues to have his back on all of this. Doug Marrone continues to talk. Todd Wash today also said, hey, we're prepared. He's locked in as much as he can be right now. We'll see where it goes. We have to prep both ways, whether he will or will not. He kind of figured he had an idea. I think what came out of there is like he kind of had an idea of what will happen on Sunday, but he didn't share much of the details. So my point is they're in the loop on it inside the building, which can be frustrating for everybody outside the building in terms of the end game or knowing exactly what's going on or conspiracy theory or reality, whatever it might be. But as long as they know what's going on, I'm going off what they are. And Doug Marrone continues to say, hey, he's got an injury. We're in conversations with him. We're talking to him. He's around the team. We treat it like any other injury. So that's what I'm going with for now, and that's where the Jags are at. And I think we'll get another update tomorrow when the injury report comes out. Then you get listed as questionable or out, or that will be the next stage of this.
And that's the most important thing to go off of, right, is the fact that they do have a plan in place. They kind of expect, what's going to happen with Jalen Ramsey. Now, whether he plays or not, that's a big deal, but at least they have some sort of idea. What did we talk about a couple weeks ago when they exited Houston, where Marrone and Ramsey were fighting on the sidelines, and the next day or the next couple of days, Marrone comes out and says, I haven't talked to Jalen Ramsey about it. It's not a big deal. We always harp on the coaches about the communication aspect, right? Like, you got to stay in contact with your players. You have to be on the same page as your employees. Well, guess what? From all things considered, listening to Todd Wash's interview today, it sounds like at least him and Jalen Ramsey are on the same page.
Yeah, and so now we'll see what happens there. As for the remarks from the owner, and I'm going to get to that in a moment because I want to update first on Minshew. So put that on the back burner for just another minute or so. Minshew, he's practicing. He's got a brace on. To me, there's really not that much different. I think you just kind of get closer and closer to the game. What I wanted to ask you, and I know you didn't play the quarterback position, so it's a little different. We don't even really know truly what is wrong with Gardner Minshew, if anything. It's just a bruise or just uncomfortable or, heck, I mean, I think you could probably play on a sprained MCL or something like that, right? I mean, if you really, whatever it might be. There are guys that have played on ACLs before. So who knows what the injury is to Gardner Minshew exactly. How much better did you get in a game week when you did have an injury from coming off the game Sunday where there was an obvious limp for Gardner Minshew? He was hurt, and it was adrenaline fueled that he was able to even make it through that final drive, I believe, from being there in Denver. To Monday, the soreness of when you wake up. Tuesday, maybe you start feeling a little bit better. Wednesday, you're limited, and you're trying to see if you can give it a go as you get back into the work week. Then Thursday, Friday, and beyond. Like, just how much does it change? Or is it really just all the same and you're just gotten it through?
Well, if we're talking about me and going week to week with an injury, it would be my Liz Frank that I had in my foot. That was the most serious injury I ever had and the most painful one I ever had. And Brent, that was like a week to week kind of thing, right? Like, I would play on it during the game. After the game, obviously be in the locker room, still ice it up and everything. And then, I'll be completely transparent because I take pride in being transparent. During the week, I had to do a lot of things that, whether it was taking maybe some medicine, I'm not saying it was illegal, but probably wasn't the best thing for me to do. I had to take a couple shots, in order to do that. And also might have to do some things that, weren't the most legal kind of things to do to get me ready to play on a game on Sunday with my foot. Now, how much better did I progress, throughout the week? To be honest with you, I was just trying to walk. I didn't have it in terms of, man, I'm at about a 5 right now. Hopefully I can be about a 7 by the time the game starts on Sunday. No, I mean, it was pretty much a 5 the whole time, and I was just trying to maintain that 5 the best that I could. So from my perspective, it's a little different because I had a nagging foot injury. But I think, from Gardner Minshew's perspective too, with that knee, what they're asking him to do is so different, right? The quarterback position, you have it kind of easy during the week, right? Like you're not taking part in inside run. You're not, going through the physical parts of practice. Yeah. It's all about mental stuff. I mean, you wear the red jersey for a reason. You wear the red jersey because then when it's time for Sunday, you can take those big hits that you don't see coming. So from Minshew's perspective, yeah, he's going to have 3 or 4 days to get that knee right, and we're assuming nothing's torn. We're assuming that everything is still intact. So from that perspective, I mean, ice, and the stem and the compression, things like that. I mean, he could go from, maybe feeling like a 5, like a 6 to maybe feeling like a 7 or 8 by the time Sunday comes around.
Yeah, and listen, everybody's playing through it. Nobody really feels like a 10 anyway already, a month into the year, not when you play in this violent game. So I think it is what it is at the moment, and we'll see what he's able to do. I think everybody's kind of said it. I don't think there's not conflicting opinions here. Although I told you early on Monday, that I thought this would be an issue this week, and I think it's something to keep an eye on, and I still believe that. I don't think there's conflicting opinions on he'll play. He'll give it a go. We'll see. I just think the one thing is the mobility part, is how much does that impact? And I don't think you can say it enough, because if you start looking at the plays that he's been super impactful on, that everybody shows in the highlight reels, that have ended up in touchdowns or keeping drives alive, or, even back in Houston when he ran for it on 4th and whatever, on that, would have been game-tying drive in the 4th quarter in Houston, he's using his legs. I mean, that mobility is a thing. So when you take something out of someone's arsenal, something that he's been good at through the first few games of his NFL career, something that really has helped the Jaguars, his mobility, then I think that's a concern. And so I have concern over, especially like you've said yesterday, against a really good defense.
And that's the thing, and that's the biggest point. We talk about the whole week about, Denver, are they going to be able to get home? I mean, they haven't had any sacks this season. Is this the day that Von Miller and Bradley Chubb will finally eat? And they had 5 sacks, correct? So, or 5 or 6? 5. Yeah, so they had a pretty good day. Well, no one's really talking about the Carolina Panthers rush defense at all. And guess what? Do you want to know who's number 1 right now in the NFL in sacks?
Yeah, them.
Well, they're tied with New England, but yeah, they're tied for first right now.
Yeah, but New England's played JV teams.
Yeah, well, the Panthers have played an okay schedule, so you have to take them very seriously.
It's a great matchup. Brian Burns, by the way, out of Florida State, Defensive Player of the Month, the Rookie of the Month.
Yeah, and then isn't Gardner Minshew the offensive? Yeah, so it's a good matchup for sure. But at the same time, you cannot take this Carolina Panthers defense lightly whatsoever.
No, and I don't think they will. I mean, listen, we all know it. We've seen it. They're Carolina. Kind of been Carolina's MO as their defense is good.
True.
Kuechly's been in the heart of that, but before that, they had some really good players.
Yeah, but I'm just saying everyone's talking about Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, but we're not talking about the pass rushing of the Carolina Panthers.
I get what you're saying, because when we say Denver Broncos, you want to go and you say, wow, Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, wow, that defense. And it's been really good at times. I mean, heck, they had Malik Jackson. They had DeMarcus Ware was over there, right?
Yep, correct.
Chris Harris has been always good. They had Aqib Talib.
They had Terrence Knighton over there.
They had Terrence Knighton, pot roast. But then when you think about Carolina, you're like, okay, they have Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey. But you forget that they play this style of football that they almost play like Tennessee, in my opinion. Like
Pound the rock.
I understand they put up 35 and 4 touchdowns with Kyle Allen against Arizona, but again, Arizona's kind of on the JV list of teams, in my opinion. So
Big 12.
They don't play that way, right? I mean, that's not the style. They're going to win more 20-16 games than they are 35-32 games. And then the next week coming in, the same deal. New Orleans doesn't get enough love as what they do on the defensive side of the football. See, that's why I think they're afloat still, is what they've done defensively. I mean, they shut Cowboys down to 10 points. So that will be the storyline, even though we think Drew Brees and Peyton and Kamara and all this offense. It's really the defenses the next 2 weeks that carry the day and will be the most significant challenge, I believe, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, Shad Khan talks Jalen Ramsey. We'll share some of the quotes if you haven't seen them yet. And what does it mean? Did you learn anything, or is it just, okay, we kind of knew that? Next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. It seems that Minshew mania is spreading because now he has just been named the AFC's Rookie of the Month. Minshew in 4 games has completed 84 of 121 passes with 905 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a single interception for a passer rating of 106.9. Here's Minshew talking about criticisms of his arm strength.
No, I just got to play, complete balls, throw it on time, do my job. Because at the end of the day, I got guys here that count on me. and it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
And the MLB playoffs kick off tonight with 2 NL contests featuring St. Louis versus the Braves and Washington taking on the Dodgers. Stay connected to ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And you're home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations, or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you'll pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander? It's not $35,500. Now, it's only $24,888. That's $24,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota 4Runner? It's not $36,500. No way. Now it's just $28,888. Just $28,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota 4Runner at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Never trust your tax situation to anyone you can't walk in and look in the eye. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Hey, boss, how's it going?
Don't even talk to me.
Uh-oh, sounds like you're having a moment.
It's not a moment. It's just been one of those days.
Boss, what happened?
So I'm driving around doing errands and stuff. I counted 14 Safe Touch security signs while I was out. 14!
Well, I guess word's out that Safe Touch is the best.
I mean, there's Safe Touch signs in yards, Safe Touch stickers on drive-through windows, Safe Touch on billboards, Safe Touch on the radio. I'm about to lose my mind.
Boss, it's okay. There's still plenty of houses out there without Safe Touch.
Yeah, but the more people hear about the two-way communicator, the guaranteed response time, the crash and smash.
What do kids say these days? Safe Touch is going viral. Kind of funny when you think about it.
Oh, I hate Safe Touch.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show.
Eli Manning is one of the nicest dudes, class personified. It's impossible to root against him. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not calling him some scrub. We're saying Father Time's caught up.
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I think you always got to be careful. You know, I just think that, and I think that's probably the best way. I think we just got to do a good job and be careful. It'll be limited today. Anytime someone shows up on the injury report, I think you just have to be, mindful of it. I don't think you can just, come out here and just go, hey, everything's fine, everything's great. I just think we have to be careful leading up to the game.
Well, that was Doug Marrone yesterday. This morning on Good Morning Football, Doug Marrone was on. Jaguars are all over the place right now. I told you, man. They're everywhere. NFL Network, ESPN, the National, they're everywhere. And Doug Marrone basically said, hey, this was at 8:15 in the morning, too. He's like, I got the injury report. We feel good about it. It's good. So, I don't think there's a lot of alarm to Minshew. I just still think it's worth acknowledging it's there. Keep an eye on it. The brace he'll wear, all that stuff. And I don't really think the brace bothers quarterbacks. I think he even said yesterday he's worn it before playing ball. So it is what it is. Let's move on to the Jalen Ramsey front now. And Ramsey, we already talked about his availability and what might happen there. He misses practice again, his sixth practice in a row that he's missed for some reason or another. And this is because of the tight back. Who knows if he'll play on Sunday? Todd Wash says, hey, he's got a pretty good idea, but he's not telling us.
Yeah.
And Todd Wash had to play coy a couple of times in that presser because they asked if they were going to bracket Christian McCaffrey, and he's like, well, it's a little early for the game planning on that. Yeah, right, it's a little early for the game planning on that. I think the game plan is in place, but I respect that. That's fine. You can't give away all your secrets. But anyway, the Shad Khan news last night, and how big a news is it in your opinion that Shad Khan, he talked that one little time, remember, before the Thursday night game. That was 2 weeks ago on NFL Network, and it was a 10-second soundbite, and that was it. This had a little bit more juice to it, a few more thoughts on Ramsey, including he sat down and talked to Ramsey before. And the bottom line is he doesn't want to trade Ramsey. They're not trading Ramsey. I mean, that's what the owner said. He's like, we are not trading him. Mm-hmm. What did that mean to you when you heard it?
It was pretty par for the course, I guess you would say. I expected him to say that. Remember when Shad Khan came out, it almost seems probably about a month ago now, and he was maybe a little less than a month, but, basically when he said that he was going to do what was best for the team and revolve around Jalen Ramsey. Like, when these trade rumors started to pop up and then we found out that they're true, Shad Khan was the guy that was very adamant about saying he's going to analyze the situation and then do what's best for the team. Well, Shad Khan wants to win football games. So what's best for the team is to obviously keep the best player on your team on the team. It's simple as that. And I think Shad gets that, and I think he's kind of got, his ear close to the ground with what's going on in that building. I mean, like we've talked about before, maybe he's not the biggest football mind, but the guy knows how to run businesses, obviously. Start out of his garage and now look where he's at. He's got yachts for days. So with those things considered, I mean, if you treat this like a business, you have to keep your biggest asset on the team.
Yeah, and so what I kind of took out of it was, okay, great, there's communication. Right? Yeah. He's had a conversation with him. Because here's the viewpoint now, because we don't know. Nobody's sitting there telling us, here's what's going on. Right? And now Adam Schefter, we didn't bring it up yesterday, but yesterday morning in Philadelphia, he basically said he doesn't think he's going to get traded. Well,
really changing that tune.
He did. And listen, by the way, I'm not criticizing Schefter in this. Schefter's doing his job. He's getting information from the agent and from that camp, and that's fine, and that's good for him. I wish the agent would call us and tell us some information, too. That'd be great.
I get it, but, okay, yeah, that's another topic for another conversation.
Well, what?
I just feel like if you report something wrong, like, shouldn't you at least be held accountable for it? But I understand it's hearsay, so that's his job.
Well, I was going to say, like, what did he report wrong?
Well, he
didn't play Sunday.
No, he didn't play Sunday, but he was under the impression that, Jalen Ramsey's getting traded.
Yeah, he'd go all the way back, they thought maybe as soon as Friday.
Yeah.
But I think if you go back and look at those tweets and look at how it's presented, it's could, it might, it's not, it will definitely happen, and that's how they couch it. That's fine.
Yeah, I got
that's
you.
part of reporting, man. But I'll stick up for Schefter there. That's part of it.
I got you.
When you're an information guy, especially in Schefter's world, things do change. And you're not going to always be like, right. But my thing, again, with Schefter is that, and this is really from the camp, is they helped set this narrative all last week that had us all questioning the validity of it because of the narrative that got pushed out there from Sunday, Monday, all the way through the rest of the week. And, well, here we are. But now he's obviously, what I read into has happened. And there's a lot going on here. Okay, Coughlin, Ramsey, there's the beef. Right? I believe the Cons have really said, we want this guy in this organization. We're going to do anything we can.
Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, good point. Thanks for clarifying. I mean, I think right now they want Tom Coughlin in, too. I don't think this is a, hey, get Tom Coughlin out for Shad Khan, or I think the move would have been made if that's the case. But I think Shad Khan said, I'm stepping in here because I want this guy. It goes all the way back to what we had a conversation about. This guy's part of the brand of my organization. Look at all the people talking about Jalen Ramsey. From a business standpoint, you want him in. From a football standpoint, you want him part of your organization. You like him as a football player. Heck, they might love him as a person. They know him better than any of us do. So Doug Marrone's been very supportive. Dave Caldwell's been very quiet, so it's hard to know that part of it. But I think if you look at the Cons and Marrone, very supportive of it vocally now.
Oh, yeah.
Coughlin's been very quiet, but we all kind of think, okay, it's Coughlin that the beef is with. And what does that mean? Well, how does it play out? Well, now this latest thing of Khan basically saying, hey, we're not going to trade him. We don't want to trade him. He's part of our organization. And the Schefter news from yesterday morning out of a Philadelphia, I think it was, radio station, where he was quoted, is basically probably the camp of Jalen Ramsey saying, they're not going to trade me. You know? They're not trading me. Yeah. So here I am. I mean, so what does that mean? What's next? Like, how does Ramsey play this?
See, this is the thing. And this is where you're on one side or the other side. The one side is, okay, his back's actually hurt, and, you know, it's day to day. Hopefully plays against Carolina. The other side is he's faking it, and he's just trying to sit out as much as possible until he gets traded. Well, we know now that the Jaguars aren't really interested in trading him. Not to say that offer maybe gets a little increase down the line a little bit, and maybe, you know, it's an offer so good that you just can't refuse. The Giants did it with Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah. You said you're not going to trade the guy. Well, what happened a couple months later?
The Dolphins did it too.
Yeah, exactly. So there's two sides to it. Here's my whole philosophy. Obviously, I think Jalen Ramsey's actually hurt, right? Because if you go back to the Jalen Ramsey press conference, he was super adamant about being a good teammate, about being there for his brothers and things of that nature. Well, if you're sitting out and your back's not actually hurting, players are going to recognize that.
Yeah.
That gets around the locker room. And if that's the narrative that's going on in the locker room, eventually you're going to lose those guys in the locker room. They're not going to be your friend anymore, or they're not going to be your teammate anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They'll hold him accountable. So to think that Jalen Ramsey's faking this whole thing so he can sit out until he gets traded, man, I'm telling you right now, that locker room can see right through that, and that's how you lose your teammates, your friends, your brothers. So I don't see him doing that.
That's very good perspective right there from a former player. I'm not done with Ramsey yet because I'm not talking about the back injury. He might be stuck in Jacksonville for the rest of the year. Does he have another move to make, or is he stuck? Next on ESPN 690.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
At Le Batard Show on Twitter. Go ahead, Fake Stugotz.
How long would it take for you to get up and walk around after being in bed for 30 years if your grandson found a golden ticket? Over one musical number or under one musical number? 58% of the audience said over one musical number.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida.
CQ1057788.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville September 27th, and there's no better time to lock up your seat in the main event than right now. You will find satellites into the $5,000 buy-in main event for as little as $120. Satellites are going on now. Get ready to take your shot at $1 million prize pool in the WPT main event. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjax.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany. Here. Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
Cooler weather is around the corner, and our AutoZone Rewards program is here to help you get your ride ready for those fall drives. Members get a $20 reward every time they spend $20 or more 5 times, which means you'll have more to spend on great deals, just like this one. Get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high-mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. Visit us at AutoZone.com and start the job fast. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
I think Carson Wentz is going to come back and have a resurgent year.
Are you not concerned at all with the lack of depth at quarterback position? They had to rely a lot on Nick Foles. Carson Wentz gets hurt every year.
Not every year.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
Pass catching, he is special. I mean, he had 10 catches last week. Since he's been in the league, he's been the best receiving running back in the league. And, he really can run routes like a receiver, and he has good hands. I don't have to worry too much about that. I just got to get the quarterback before they throw it or try to make it uncomfortable so he throws a bad ball. But inside in the box, so, he can run inside well. He runs outside well. He has good power. If you get your hands on him, he pulls through arm tackles. He's a complete back.
That's Calais Campbell. We'll see him tonight. Jaguars All Access, Mellow Mushroom in Avondale, 7 o'clock. You can watch it on Fox 30. Should be a big crowd out there tonight, so come on out early for that one. Leonard Fournette will join Calais Campbell. And friendly reminder, as I continue to push this out, we love the big crowds. Come on out. Party big time. Enjoy the win. 2 in a row. Let's see if the Jags get another one. Meet Leonard Fournette. We are going to prioritize children, kids coming out there to the show. I love seeing the kids out there when they come on out to the show. But in terms of autographs and pictures, we are going to prioritize the kids because there were some kids last week that I think got stuck in the back of the line. We want the kids to get to the front of the line. So
that's what it's all about, of course.
Yeah. So just know that going in. And we try to get to everybody in a reasonable amount of time for Leonard Fournette and Calais Campbell. And like I always say, I'll be off to the side and be willing to take a picture. And
I was going to say, let's stop selling yourself short, too. I've been with you at TPC. I've seen people come up to you and ask for pictures and autographs.
Let's just say the line isn't very long. Anyway, Brett Martineau, former Jag, Austin Lane. Coos here. On a Thursday, as we get closer and closer to football, we got some football tonight. Rams in Seattle. Seems like a big game for both of those teams in an odd way. I think both teams have been disappointing at times. The Rams obviously just coming off a clunker, terrible one, but now they go on the road, short week. Seattle is a bit off. I don't know what to make of Seattle. I think we still have in our heads Seattle is Seattle from 2012 and 13 and 14, and they're not anymore. They rebuilt the thing. They got better on the offensive line after being horrible on the offensive line. They got rid of a lot of that defense. They've replenished to the point where I think they're pretty good. I just don't know how good they are.
Yeah.
And I think the first month of the season has shown that, although Pete Carroll's teams at times have been off slow starters anyway in the season.
They have, and it's kind of weird not seeing the Seattle defense be as dominant as they have been, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they've lost all their key pieces, whether it's Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, I think is still there, but the entire secondary kind of got reshuffled around a little bit. So, this isn't the Seattle Seahawks defense from, 5-6 years ago. And also the fact that, a team that's relied on pounding the rock a lot, whether it was with Marshawn Lynch and now they have Chris Carson, well, they're kind of putting in Russell Wilson's hands a little more, which makes sense being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So you expect him to be the highest paid quarterback and make some passes. But you look at that offense, Brennan, it's not going to knock your socks off. I mean, they have Tyler Lockett, who's decent. DK Metcalf. What about the Ole Miss receivers? Have a pretty good season so far. Yeah.
A.J. Brown and
A.J. Brown had 2 touchdowns against Atlanta, yeah.
So, you're right about Metcalf. I have Lockett in my fantasy team. By the way,
sure.
3-1 people in the fantasy.
I mean, that's decent. You've still lost before, though.
I have lost.
Not sure what that feels like.
I should have been doing this for a long time.
You're addicted.
Kaylee, how bad are you in fantasy this year?
0-4
for Kaylee Brooke.
Oh, wow.
0-4.
Who's your first-round pick?
She's been a champ before. She's won the league. She beat all the boys.
Yeah.
On the baseball team.
Okay. Is it injuries, Kaylee? What's going on with you? I don't know. Who's your first-round pick? See, it's...
I think it was Fournette.
Oh, okay. She's kind of a homer. But
she homered up on Fournette.
Yeah, she homered up.
First-round pick, it was Fournette?
Wow.
She doesn't remember.
Talk about a diehard Jaguars fan right there.
That is pretty diehard. Hey, cashed in last week.
She
but
did.
Really not to the point because you didn't have enough touchdowns. I mean 225 yards, so it was a nice day. But
that's going to be pretty decent for you.
Touchdowns would have been a little bit better.
There
All
you
right,
go.
I want to stay on Jalen Ramsey for another couple minutes, and then we will shift more into the NFL. The Jags against Carolina. Let's talk about this football game coming up. And Calais Campbell just talked about McCaffrey. Man, you better tackle that guy. If you can tackle him well, again, I think that's the key to a guy like McCaffrey. Now, he's going to get his. They're going to go to him enough and design enough stuff to get him his stuff. But it's the explosive plays. And I think Todd Wash said today 8 explosive plays last week against Denver. Too many to give up in a football game. So they have to be well aware of that. And I think tackling comes into play against Carolina and McCaffrey. But back to Jalen Ramsey as we continue to just finish this thought up. And you were talking about, hey, you don't think the backs, it's not a made-up thing. And you've been consistent with that. And there are a lot of people that don't believe that. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I'm not even talking about the back stuff. I'm not even talking about the immediate right now. End of October 29th is the trade deadline. I think there's a really good chance that comes and goes and he's still a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Shad Khan kind of said that yesterday. I kind of thought that anyway. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens after this season, and beyond, who knows? But he's with the Jaguars if that trade deadline comes and goes.
Yeah.
But even in the next 3 weeks, say he's healthy enough and he's starting to play football again, where does his mind go? What do they do next? Do they have to just wait this thing out? They have no control in terms of the contract stuff. He's got a 5-year option. And even down the road, if he doesn't want to agree to an extension, franchise tag possibilities. The Jags have the leverage in this. Now, what does Ramsey have the capability of being and doing? He can be an unhappy camper, and that wears out its welcome at some point. So I'm just trying to think of what else could he do to get out of Jacksonville if he really wants to be out of Jacksonville and they don't trade him here in 2019? Could it become a volatile, toxic kind of situation? And is that the way he has to turn it? When we talked about Antonio Brown and players like that, there was a thought, I remember at one time, where they turned it toxic. Now, I think it played out that Antonio Brown maybe just was kind of toxic.
Well,
but could you intentionally turn it toxic to get out of there, to get out of a place? Could Jalen Ramsey do that?
No, you don't have to turn the environment toxic. That's on Jalen Ramsey, right? And I think Jalen Ramsey, whether he's going to be here next year or not, I think he respects the organization and he respects his teammates too much to go through that whole thing. Remember with the whole Antonio Brown thing, he had a gripe with Ben Roethlisberger. He had a gripe with Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't think Jalen Ramsey really has any gripes with anybody. So that's a positive.
On the team.
Yeah, on the team. So now if you are Jalen Ramsey and you're looking to get out, well, what do you do? In my opinion, and once again, You know where I stand. I think the back's actually bothering him. But let's assume for a second that the back's all a facade. This is all just a ploy to get out of practice and get out of playing. Well, eventually you can't use that anymore, like you just said, Brent. So what do you do next? If you're Jalen Ramsey and, you've called yourself this before, but, you're a real individual. You tell it like it is, right? We saw it in the press conference a little bit, just being himself. Well, if that's the case, then you just got to come out and say, listen, I don't want to be here anymore. And if I'm here, I'm not going to play. And so either you guys trade me or you won't see me on the field. And if you hold a team hostage like that, well, they have to trade you, right? Because if you come out and say that you don't want to play on the team anymore and you don't want to show up for practice, you don't want to play in the games, they have to take him at his word. So
doesn't the team still win? They can fine him. Could lose game checks.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But you have to ask yourself the question, if he doesn't want to play, and he's a pretty strong-willed individual, Brent, so I think he would stick to his guns here on this, regardless of how much money he's not making. If he does that, then you almost have to ask, well, then, okay, what can we get for him? You know, I mean, that's what it comes down to. I'm just saying. No, not saying it's going to shake down like that at all. But if I'm Jalen Ramsey and I want it out, I would just be real with everybody.
I can tell you this. When you are hurt on a football team, and you can tell me better than, but I've covered it enough to know, when you're hurt and you're not playing, you don't feel a part of it. There's Jalen Ramsey, while looking engaged on the sideline, might have felt a part of it. I still think there's a part of him that did not feel a part of that win, and now 2-2. The more the Jags win, I think the more a guy like Ramsey, who loves to play football and says he loves to win, I think misses that. And I think he could just call off the dogs and say, forget about it. Let's handle this stuff after. Let's go win and try to keep winning, because we're winning right now and it's a lot of fun and I want to be a part of it. I do think it could go that way. We'll see how prideful he is when it comes to that part of it. For now, he misses practice again. We'll see what happens tomorrow and Sunday with Jalen Ramsey. When we come back, a little more NFL talk.
So your team scores. Suddenly you're best friends with perfect strangers. Tullamore Dew calls these friendships fanships. When the game is on, order a Tullamore Dew, the original triple-blended, smooth-sipping Irish whiskey for the person next to you. This game day, grab a Tully and strike up a fanship at...
Find Tullamore Dew in Jacksonville at Hoptinger Jacks Beach, Hoptinger 5 Points, and H. Jopton.
When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, 2019, imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc.
It's almost Halloween. Goblins and their parents will soon be at your door. To make your house the best stop on the block, start at the Home Depot for a selection so good, it's scary. Like animated skeletons, cackling witches, pirates, and more. You can see them now at a store near you. Or if you can't scare up the time, get free delivery on Halloween decor. This year, Halloween lives at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on online eligible products only. Restrictions apply while supplies last. U.S. only.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take one capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to Walmart and get Ageless Male Tonight.
It's Dollar Down Days at Planet Fitness. Now through October 11th, you can join Planet Fitness for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. So if you really think about it, you have plenty of cardio equipment between your couch cushions and quite a few strength machines in your cup holder. Oh, then there's that free fitness training in your sock drawer. So check every couch, cup holder, and coin purse and join by October 11th for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. Join in club or at planetfitness.com now through October 11th. Planet Fitness clubs are independently owned and operated. See club for details.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Mickey Callaway lasted only 2 years as manager of the Mets. Callaway gets fired today. The team won 86 games this season, 9 more than last year, but they're now the 7th team in search of a new manager. There's a playoff doubleheader today on ESPN Radio starting at 4:30 Eastern. First up, Game 1, Cardinals and Braves in Atlanta. Miles Michaelis and Dallas Keuchel, the starters. Then Game 1 for the Dodgers and Nationals in Los Angeles. Lefty Patrick Corbin for Washington. And young right-hander Walker Buehler for the Dodgers ahead of Clayton Kershaw. Buehler's reaction?
It's an honor for me to even pitch in the playoffs, so the order is kind of insignificant, and we're looking forward to playing.
The American League Division Series open tomorrow with the Yankees hosting the Twins and the Astros hosting the Rays. CC Sabathia not on the Division Series roster for the Yankees. NFL Week 5 kicks off tonight in Seattle. The Seahawks and the Rams, both teams 3-1. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Patriots will sign kicker Mike Nugent.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year automatically, with no limit to how much they'll match. Millions of people a year are getting their cash back matched. Discover Cash Back Match. What are you waiting for? Learn more at discover.com/cashbackmatch.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
At the end of the day, right now, have a great front. They've got a great leader that leads that pack. Luke Kuechly, and our job is to balance the game out. Shaq Thomas, number 54. My brother, Dante Jackson, number 33, their safety. So a lot of guys stand out. And I think it's gonna be one of the best defenses we're gonna face this year, as far as playing discipline and being in their spots. So I think they do a great job at that.
That's Leonard Fournette talking about that Carolina defense, and let's get into it a little bit and talk a little more about that Carolina front against Fournette. Have the Jags found something offensively? Can they stop holding people? I said it yesterday. Wow, voice just cracked a little bit.
You're good, man. I was going to let it slide, but you called yourself out. So.
I did. That was kind of different. That was an interesting one. That was like a slippery one.
You good?
I think I'm okay. I'm going to go back into the deep tones.
There we go.
How far can I go down here?
And we're back.
Thank you very much. But I said it yesterday. I said, I think, or not yesterday, earlier in the week when we were talking about penalties and holding and all that, that I think some of it is because you don't feel as good as the other team, the other player next to you, across from you. And so, therefore, you're going to cheat. I mean, flat out, you just try to cheat. You need a helper, right? You need a tug here or there, and sometimes you get away with it. Yeah. Right? In the trenches, you get away with a lot anyway.
Without a doubt.
On every play. So I wonder, though, the flip side of that is when you have a good performance and the line in general is now starting to play with each other a bit more on a weekly basis, does that breed a little more confidence where then you can get away from that stuff? And you're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, okay, this is a good defense coming in, but we're good too. Yeah. I don't know if the Jags felt like they were good. Certainly didn't coming off the Tennessee game where they couldn't push anybody around. Yeah. And they haven't really pushed many people around in the first 3 weeks until Denver. So you go back to that film now, and you have Von Miller, and you have Chubb, and there were some guys hurt and banged up and left the game in the second half, all those kind of things, but it's still Denver's defense that's pretty good. Sure. This wasn't like you were pushing around Miami's defense, Arizona's defense, whatever you might want to say. So I think there's an element of that might a little confidence come with this offensive line all of a sudden, a little bit of swagger, and maybe there's less penalized plays and more pushing people around because they think they can do it.
Well, without a doubt. Anytime you rush over 200 yards, you're going to gain a little confidence. And I think the offensive line has gained confidence a little bit, and I think Fournette has gained confidence as well. Yeah. Because Trust, yeah. Because, this is a guy that seemed a little frustrated the first couple games, and as he should be. You spend all that time in Wyoming. Ain't much to do in Wyoming, Brent. Not sure if you've ever been there before.
Yeah. What's the payoff? I have.
Not a lot. And I don't think Leonard Fournette's skiing out there. So
when I came back from Wyoming, I looked like Leonard Fournette, actually.
Fair enough. So when you
I was 225 pounds too.
For real?
Just a little different.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, it's all mass at the end of the day. It doesn't matter where it's at. But so you spend that time in Wyoming, man. And you put all that work in, and you don't really see the results, right? Like you invest all this time, and you don't see the paycheck for it. Well, now you finally saw the paycheck. You rush over 200 yards. Now all of a sudden you're the third leading rusher in the NFL. So Fournette's got the confidence. Obviously, Minshew's got confidence. Now, the knee, keep an eye on it. But for the most part, I think Minshew's got the confidence. Offensive line, Obviously has the confidence. But we got to keep in mind here, Brent, this is against the Denver Broncos, all right? They haven't won a game yet. And this is me talking. If I'm in that locker room, I'm confident as hell. Of course I am. We just dominated the Denver Broncos. Yeehaw, on to the next one. Cool. But I'm saying from a guy on the outside looking in, I'm telling you that the Carolina Panthers are a different animal. Okay, because when I sat here last week, talked about Vic Fangio's defense, what did I say the whole time? I said he doesn't change things up a lot. He's very stubborn in what he does, and he runs a very vanilla defense. He basically puts it on the players to be like, hey, I'm putting you in a position, make the plays. Well, that second half, especially in the run game, the Broncos just, they got slaughtered. Well, you have new Carolina Panthers defense this year, a 3-4 defense, which you haven't seen a lot from Carolina lately. So you have a new 3-4 defense that is playing at a very, very high level right now. And they play at a high level because they confuse their opponents, okay? As opposed to the Denver Broncos, where if you're game planning for them, that offensive line for the Jaguars is like, we know what they're going to do. We just got to come out and execute, and we'll be fine. You can't do that against the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are going to throw different kind of looks at you and things like that. So from that perspective, to go from a Denver Broncos game where you know what you got to do the whole time. You just got to play ball, execute, dominate, and you're good to go. Now you got to play a Carolina defense where it's like, okay, what's this look? What's this look? What's this look? Where's the blitz coming from? All this kind of different stuff, it makes you think a little more. And the biggest thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars now is, yes, you have to have the confidence, but you also have to be on your P's and Q's against the Carolina Panthers.
Well, and on top of that, I think this is where Minshew plays into his strength a bit, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's got good football IQ. He hasn't looked like a rookie in that regard. People confuse him. There have been people that tried. I've watched different film breakdowns of Minshew from across, social media platforms, or log him in down at Jags or whatever it might be. And it seems like he hasn't been confused very often. In fact, the big story the last couple of days has been the 81-yard run by Fournette. He checked out of that into a run. Yeah. Not to say that would confuse you. I mean, that's kind of a simplistic thing, I think, from a quarterback standpoint, even in the NFL. It's not always you get it right, but it's more of a simplistic thing. That's not disguise or anything like that. But it shows that he has the ability to check into the right play. Now, he could have had 3 plays where he checked into the wrong play. We're just not talking about him. Yeah. But I think my point is, this plays into his hand a little bit. Even if you are going to try to disguise some things, even if you're a young quarterback, this is where Gardner Minshew feels even pretty confident, because he's like, I know this stuff. You're not going to trick me.
And listen, I'm not faulting Minshew for this at all, because if you go back to the game, I mean, the Broncos, listen, you're not going to do the same coverage every single snap, right? Yeah. And if you go back to the game, the Broncos did do some different things in the secondary. Now as far as their upfront base was concerned, they mostly did the same thing over and over again. But my point is, it's the offensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm confident in Minshew. I feel like you can throw whatever you want at Minshew. He's going to be calm, collected, find the open man, make the right call out of it if they don't like what they see. I'm confident in Minshew. The biggest thing is the offensive line, though. Where they've had showed, I get it. Denver, they ran the ball really well. Weren't that great in the pass game. Well, Carolina's got a good pass rush, and they can also, for the most part, stop the run. They've given up some long runs and things like that, but that's the way a defense works. Either you're good at stopping the pass or the run, or else you're elite. I'm not ready to call Carolina's defense elite quite yet, but they are very good. And I think if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line right now, you just got to keep in mind, yes, be confident, but expect some different kind of looks from what you got in Denver.
It would be nice to see her. I think Andrew Norwell's coming off a nice game. I think a lot of those linemen are coming off a nice game despite the holding penalties and some of those penalties that are holding them back. You'd like to see 2 things, I would at least, and that is, 1, you limit the penalties, because you're not going to win on the road getting a dozen penalties, especially some of the critical ones they got that put them in tough spots. They were able to overcome it. I think they got a bit fortunate. That's to me is more of a one-off thing than it's something you're going to do all the time. I've been telling people left and right, the Jags aren't good enough to overcome 2nd and 18 consistently. Kansas City Chiefs, they don't care. If it's 2nd and 40, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So, but the Jags aren't built that way. That's not what they do. I mean, maybe that's what they're becoming, and I just don't see it and don't know it, but that's not what they do. So you have to clean up some of that, especially the timing of those penalties. That matters a lot. When you're taking touchdowns off the board and just kicking field goals, especially on the road, that's a big deal. So they have to clean that up. But I'm going to really be interested to see a guy like Andrew Norwell, who you paid a ton of money to, I thought had a really good game. They ran left a lot behind Norwell. We talked about Richardson, a guy like him. But I'm more Norwell should be a known commodity for you. Norwell should be a guy that you say, you know what, this is what we got, this is what we paid for, this is what we expect, and he does it every game. Well, he hasn't. He's been hurt. He's been inconsistent. Last week was a really good game, arguably his best game in a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform. I think you'd have to ask them down there.
Sure.
But can we see it again? You know, against a formidable front, against a good defense. To me, that then becomes something that you can rely on. I think Linder's a good center. I don't know if he's a great one. Should he be the highest paid one? We can debate all that stuff. But I think he's a good one. Can he stay healthy? If he is, he's a good one. Norwell is supposed to be good. He's supposed to be really good.
Correct.
And I want to know that. I think we're going to get mixed bag out of Cam Robinson. I think we're going to get a mixed bag out of Jawan Taylor, and probably a mixed bag at times out of that right guard spot, or they wouldn't be fluctuating the position as often as they are.
Yeah.
But I need to know that Brandon Linder and Andrew Norwell are going to play well, going to be consistent, going to be almost dominant at times. That's what I paid those guys to do.
Yeah.
And so for me, the offensive line, it's on them to play that way, and then you hope the other guys follow suit. And that's what I'm going to be looking for out of that offensive line. Slow down the penalties, especially in the bad timing of some of those penalties.
Exactly.
And then give me Linder and Norwell playing really good football moving forward. And I've got a renewed confidence in a guy like Leonard Fournette. And you know what else? It doesn't matter what I think. I think Leonard Fournette has a renewed confidence in those guys, and we can call those plays off that left side and follow them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to establish the run, right? And getting back to the penalties, Brent, yes, that has to be cleaned up. It's almost now on record, like every single year. Every single week, it's like the same record. All right, clean up the penalties, guys. Yeah. Clean up the penalties, guys.
And you're a bigger penalty guy than me.
I am, man. Yeah, I mean, because it's a direct correlation, I feel like, on coaching and how you prep for a game. And I think, like we talked about, what do you have to do to increase, to help those penalties? You have to go through the little things, right? It's the hand placement. It's the footwork. Well, just keep in mind, it's one thing to go through those things in practice and work on them and be confident for the game. But then if you're in the game and it's the third or fourth quarter and all of a sudden maybe you're a little gassed and all of a sudden you see a new look and everything, you're a little more confused, well, that's where the mistakes can come in a little bit, right? So that's what I'm trying to address, how important it is to get ready for the defense that you're about to see and understand that this isn't going to be a vanilla defensive line, a vanilla defensive front like maybe you saw in Denver. This is going to be a little more tricky of the things that they try to do. And you have to be ready for that, because if you're out there wondering what's going on and all of a sudden the ball snapped, well, that's where the penalties happen, especially in the trenches.
All right. Fournette, can he do it again? That's what I asked at the top of the segment.
Yeah.
Is he going to get on a roll now? Or is that a one-off thing?
No. I feel like they're going to give him opportunities to do it again. Now that's going to come on the offensive line, obviously. But I do feel confident with Leonard Fournette going in this game. I think they're going to try to pound the rock as they should. Because while Carolina may not be the most explosive offense, and we've said it before, Brent, they have to pound the rock, and that's what they do as well. I feel like if you can be more physical than the Carolina Panthers, if you can play some good defense, and we'll see if Jalen Ramsey plays or not, but if you can contain Christian McCaffrey, and that's a big if. If you can contain him and then obviously keep them off the field and just pound the rock for 4 quarters, you got to like the Jaguars' chances.
Who has the bigger game on Sunday at the end of the day? And you can check your fantasy team, McCaffrey or Fournette. I
mean, from a fantasy perspective,
yeah,
you have to go with Christian McCaffrey, right? Because he's used so much more in the pass game. I mean, that's like their one receiver.
Yeah.
That's their starting tailback. He gets all the runs between the tackles, the zones. He gets everything like that, and he gets all the passes in coverage, And with Norv Turner, I mean, Turner understands what he has, offensive coordinator, with Christian McCaffrey. It's their best player, hands down. One of the best players in the league. I mean, he's up there with Saquon Barkley, 1 and 2, whatever. So you get that guy the ball any way possible, whether it's you split him out in coverage, put him in the slot, line up in I formation, whatever it is, but you get him the ball. And I think you get Christian McCaffrey the ball, good things can happen for you.
If you thought the Jags defense was very good, last week they proved they're not elite. And they might not even be very good. They allowed a team to go down the field and score on them. That's a good defense, maybe. This week they get another gut check time to say, all right, you got one of the best players in the NFL. What are you going to do? Elite defenses bottle that guy up.
Of course.
Very good defenses contain him. Good defense to average defenses, well, he goes for 140.
20 fantasy points, yeah.
So,
exactly.
I think it's a big one for the defense. We talk all this offense, a big one for the Jags defense. When we come back, we do a little balling and fall. We got some baseball talk to get to. AEW, what did you think of it? All on the way. Coming up on Action Sports Jax. And I won't leave the Jags because I want to talk about all these young guys, but that's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Hang with us on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A pretty hot day today. This afternoon's high temperature will be in the upper 80s, a little bit lower at the beaches under partly sunny skies. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Camry? It's not $26,000. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota Corolla? It's not $22,000. No way. Now it's just $13,888. Just $13,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Clearly, it's because I'm on every morning from 6 till 10 a.m. But this isn't about me. It's about your business. Get your business noticed today. First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get on our team than right now. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Hey, boss.
What?
You think it's okay to get out of here yet?
No, the cops may be still patrolling around out there. Give it another 10 minutes.
Okay. Boss?
What?
You still mad at me?
Well, let's assess our situation, shall we? Here we are hiding out from the cops in this storm pipe because you neglected to determine that the house we came up on had safe touch security. Is my assessment correct?
Yeah, but I swear they didn't have safe touch last week.
I don't want to hear about it, Corn Pop. We didn't even get to the front door before the safe touch video monitoring kicked in. Now here we are, crouching in this stinking ditch.
Sorry, boss.
Just so I know you know, tell me the Crooks Arrest motto again.
Stay away from safe touch houses.
At least you got that right.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
And this guy writes in, where was all this Masvidal love before his recent success? Real fans have had his back for a long time.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Give the guys a call. Grab your cell phone and call *690. This is ESPN 690.
Man, just stay focused, keep doing what he's going to do. I'm going to lead him in the right way, the best way that I can. Just stay focused in the meetings, keep doing what he's doing, man. He's doing a great job. I think all our running backs capable of doing the same thing, especially if one go down or anything happens. Gonna pick it right back up.
Hey, that's Leonard Fournette talking about Gardner Minshew. And everybody who watches the video feeds, we appreciate it. I'm sorry if it looks like I'm in an earthquake. It's just Austin that keeps kicking the camera.
Let's go ahead and blame me. What do we talk about in the first segment today on the show? Creatures of habit, Brent. We get in a routine. Well, my routine is when you talk, I give you the respect and I look at you. And when I look at you, sometimes I put my leg across my I cross my leg a little bit.
Yeah.
And I give you my undivided attention.
Very good.
That's how radio works. Well, unfortunately,
I don't always do that, by the way.
Oh no, I know.
That's right. I know. I'm usually tweeting out the next thing.
Well, and it's a really good tell because I can tell he's not paying attention to me, so I have to carry on the conversation a little bit. Don't worry, man.
Don't worry.
I have all your tells. You're fine. You're fine. But my point is the fact that when we do the video aspect of it, the cameras are never in the same spot. Sometimes they're an inch to the right, an inch to the left, and today it's an inch to the left.
Coos, sounds like we're killing you again, buddy.
Well, I mean,
it's
not
always Coos' fault.
It's not a big deal. And hey, if I bump the camera for a second, I'm sure our viewers at home aren't going to make a big deal about it.
No, they probably won't. Coos, why don't you just put some tape down so we can appease Austin?
Or maybe just don't worry about me bumping the camera one time.
One time?
One time?
It's been like 8.
10 times?
In the first hour.
You underestimate the ability of our listeners to complain about things because they've been mad the delay is off for at least 20 minutes now.
Heckle the listeners.
Is the delay still bad today?
It's as good as it's going to get.
What's your problem today, Coos?
Yes.
I don't know.
You're
it's
usually
probably
good at
because
the
it
delay.
keeps getting bumped. The delay keeps changing.
Heckle the listeners, man. Heckle all 10 of my family members listening back home right now in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Numbers are way down today because Coos can't figure out the delay. And Austin's bumping the camera.
Yeah, it's good that you still.
Well, then I guess I'm going to get out of here. What's the point?
No, you're fine. You're about to bring the numbers way up. They can't go any lower today.
Wow.
John Bachman, hey, welcome in. CBS
everybody.
47, Fox 30. Where's your cup of coffee today, man? Not sipping on a cup of coffee.
It's downstairs. I forgot it today.
Okay.
Forgot
How
it
you
today.
doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I hear you have a big story coming up today. I'm excited to hear about this.
Yes. So I'm excited to tell you about it.
Well,
so
good.
a little birdie told me that the Jacksonville International Airport has been working with local businesses to try to, drum up support as they try to sell themselves to airlines to get more flights.
Okay.
Little known fact, when I started digging into all this, I found out, we've talked about it on Action News Jax before, but I didn't realize it was this big. Our airport is the fastest growing airport in the country.
Is it really?
And it's that pace is
Damn it,
continued.
I love this airport. Don't
grow.
grow.
Don't go changing.
But all things can still be improved upon, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing that they are working on is that and Brent knows this traveling with the Jags, although he probably flies on the charter now, but he's big time. But back in the day, before he wasn't such a star, he used to have to fly commercial with the rest of us, and you couldn't get a direct flight to the West Coast. You still can't from Jacksonville. We used to have a flight to L.A. back in 2008, up until 2008. We all know what happened then. They grounded that flight when the economy crashed. So we haven't had a direct flight to L.A. for 11 years. We don't have a flight direct to the West Coast anywhere.
I think Denver's probably the farthest one, right?
and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's about
from a direct
flight.
I know I tried to get to Arizona, and Arizona was
hard.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, guess what? L.A. is the largest unserved market for Jacksonville. Guess what the largest unserved market for LA is?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
We got ourselves a marriage.
There we go.
So,
match made in heaven.
So first of all, my investigation tonight is, well, why don't we have these nonstops? I'm kind of telling you a little bit about why. So now the question is, what is the airport doing about it? And that's the part of the story that I haven't told you about.
That's
that you'll have to
tease.
tune in on Action News Jax at 5:45 tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30. But it's fascinating, and they let me get down on the tarmac and the runways. So the video is pretty cool, too.
So did you grab the things and start?
I did not start. No, I didn't do that. I didn't get on the baggage.
What are they called?
Did you guys see the?
I don't know what you call those.
What are those things called?
I don't know,
Flags?
man.
They're not flags.
Whoa.
They used to be flags. They used to look like the upside down bowling pins.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of did
Well,
at
I'll
one
go
time.
and
I don't know if
Google
they
it
still
then.
use those.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I'll get back to you.
Did you guys see the video out of O'Hare
Is that
with the beverage cart
What
going
happened
crazy? I
It
did
got
never
stuck,
find it.
obviously?
Must have gotten stuck in the go position in a circle, and it was in danger of taking out one of the planes. And some wise guy, smart tarmac operator guy, drove up in one of those like flatbed, like push away the plane vehicles, and
Nudged
just
it.
rammed it into the ground and said, "Take that, you out of control thing."
Wow, we've been talking about planes a lot lately.
Yeah.
I will say this about I have nothing but complimentary things to say about JIA. And
Well,
I think, and I'm not sure I'm supposed to, I don't know if people complain about it a lot or not.
No,
All
it's the
I know
second.
is,
It's rated the second best in the country for the size of it.
Really?
Yes, it is that well regarded.
and I'm all for growth, and we are growing here in Northeast Florida, but that is the best airport in the country. We don't even realize it because it's so easy to get through most times. Now, I'm sure there are peak times, but it's so easy to dance through that for a big airport, for a bigger city. Oh, man, I love going to that airport.
It's great, and their intent is, of course, to keep it as great, but just get bigger and get more convenient because we have so many people now who do want to get to the West Coast or wherever, and they can't. The other market that I talk a little bit about is London, with the, not just with the Jags, of course, but London and Europe. And we are one of the biggest airports most passengers traveled through that don't have a direct flight over to Europe. So
yeah, you'd like to see the London one with all the connections there, right?
Well, you'd think so, yeah. So they're working on it, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that and talk to some passengers who are wise. In fact, I talked to one guy who flies out of here. He's a retired surgeon, and he's now like a medical consultant. That's a pretty sweet gig. He lives in Amelia Island. He's doing fine. He is doing fine. Well,
hey,
guess
can
what?
we come play golf?
I know. So
did you get his name?
Of course I did.
Okay,
of course
we're gonna have a little chat after, because I'm pretty sure I may have given this guy an Uber ride. Swear.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll talk. Well, you can watch the show.
And you're gonna know if he gives you the name.
Yeah, I know the guy's name.
Okay,
yeah. He's a high quality Uber driver. He remembers names.
I do.
So, but this
I
guy
don't remember
flies,
my kids' names.
with his traveling now. He flies. I think he said he's flown out of Jacksonville more than 100 times this year.
Yep.
Wow.
I think this is the guy.
Same guy. He's a character. He's great. Anyway, so fun stuff. It's a really cool story. And then, of course, we are waiting on a verdict for the officer in Camden County who shot and killed an unarmed man. That has been a very controversial story from the get-go. The jury has the case. They're deliberating right now, so the verdict could come down at any moment.
All right.
So lots of stuff going on tonight.
Stay tuned. 5 until 7 o'clock, CBS 47, Fox 30, and then Jaguars All Access on Fox 30 at 7 o'clock. Leonard Fournette, Calais Campbell, Mellow Mushroom, and Avondale. John Bachman, looking forward to that story. 5:45. That was really good stuff. A lot of people travel in and out of here. I'm looking forward to that one.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't find what you call the things that the people use.
Oh, you couldn't?
Well, I don't know how to put it in Google. Literally, all I put was, what do you call the things that people use on runways to direct planes?
Somebody has to know. Somebody tell us.
Star
690 or social media.
I would just call them
flashlights.
They're not flashlights.
They are glowing.
There's a name.
They do have a flashlight capacity to them,
but
because
there's a
they're
name
used
for
at
that.
night.
That's not
and
it.
They're neon orange.
There's something kind of stick. They got to be.
Okay.
I would go with like some kind of baton. A safety baton. That's what I would call them.
Batons are for marching bands.
Baton.
I see you, Brent.
John Bachman, CBS 47. Fox.
Thanks, guys. I can't find it. I'm
Can you
sorry.
bring us some coffee tomorrow?
I'll bring some coffee tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, man. John Bachman. There he goes. Hey, I wanted to ask you about AEW.
Yeah.
Is it in like your balling and falling and cruise control and all this stuff?
It might be.
Well, then I won't ask you about it. If we're going to talk about it then. I won't talk about it now.
No, I mean, it can or it cannot be. I have
Give
a lot
us
of topics today.
20-second
rundown of the All Elite Wrestling.
Well, just overall, good, bad, and different.
So it's like I talked about. You have to make the first impression, right?
Yeah.
And I think the first impression was definitely positive.
Okay.
I thought they showcases because it's only a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
This isn't a pay-per-view. They have a lot of guys on the roster, so you have to select who you want to show the first night. And I think they showed the right people for the most part. There was really one match that kind of fell a little flat. But besides that, man, I thought it was a great first attempt. They won the ratings battle against WWE.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good win.
That. And the ending, they brought in a new wrestler, Jack Swagger, or used to be Jack Swagger. It's Jack Hager now, and he actually fights MMA as well.
All
so
right.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, very good. Matt, you have a future, it sounds like.
I know.
Falling and falling,
Luchasaurus
amidst
Jr.
other things, next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. It seems that Minshew mania is spreading because now he has just been named the AFC's Rookie of the Month. Minshew in 4 games has completed 84 of 121 passes with 905 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a single interception for a passer rating of 106.9. Here's Minshew talking about criticisms of his arm strength.
No, I just got to play, complete balls, throw it on time, do my job. Because at the end of the day, I got guys here that count on me, and it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
And the MLB playoffs kick off tonight with 2 NL contests featuring St. Louis versus the Braves and Washington taking on the Dodgers. Stay connected to ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all 3. Family-owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations, or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website VitaDeLouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to VitaDeLouis.com.
It's Dollar Down Days at Planet Fitness. Join through October 11th for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. So check every couch, cup holder, and coin purse and find $1 before Dollar Down Days are done. Join for $1 down in club or at planetfitness.com. See club for details.
Anyone can get on the radio these days and say whatever they want. But how many people back up what they say? Beards Diamonds does. Here's Ben, the second generation of jewelers at Beards.
I grew up here. My dad started this business 38 years ago, and we are constantly working to benefit the customer. Not only with the best prices, largest selection, highest quality jewelry and service, but also a price protection unlike any other store offers. We know how good our diamond prices are, and we're so confident they can't be beat. But we want to make sure that you know. That's why Beards Diamonds is offering you a $500 gift card if you can find any GIA certified diamond for less, anywhere in North Florida. Yes, a $500 gift card. Anyone could say they have the best price, but Beards Diamonds absolutely proves it and has been for 38 years. But don't just take our word for it. Shop around and compare. You'll see Beards Diamonds will not be beat.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center and at beardsdiamonds.com.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
All right, so that's another example of maybe he's being a distraction to the team. Give me some more, Brent. What else we got?
Brinks truck,
and
you
then
said.
And we had the Brinks truck.
Yeah.
Players have shown up in old cars. Players have shown up in hot air balloons. This isn't the first time that someone showed up in an exotic vehicle to training camp. I don't see anything that's a big deal. Jalen Ramsey's not out getting arrested. Jalen Ramsey's playing football. Everything else, I'm cool.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Hey, Maurice Jones-Drew, how many times did you ask for a trade while you were a player?
I asked one time. I think it was when I was holding out. Kind of was like, hey, if this is the way you feel about me, maybe we can work something where I can go somewhere else.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
We had 15 disruptions. Our goal is to get 20 a game, so we were a little less than we wanted to. We definitely made them uncomfortable at times, but we had to get there a little more regularly. I feel like that would have been, if we can get to the quarterback 20 times, we should win the ball game. Now that's not just sacks, but just disruptions, being around them, making them uncomfortable. If we can do that 20 times a game, we should be successful.
Well, that's my man Calais Campbell. We'll see him tonight, just a couple hours, in fact. Jaguars All Access, Mellow Mushroom Avondale. Get there early, people. Oh, man, this season's kind of fun. Like, you can feel it.
It's exciting.
Like, it's not 2017 yet. I mean, it's not on that level. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. Like, it's getting fun. Like, remember, the Jags were 3-3 in 2017. So, like, there's a lot to be written about the season, where it goes. They're 2-2. I think they'll – I have a feeling they're going to be 3-3 after the next couple of weeks in one way, shape, or form. I actually feel like they're going to win this one and probably lose at home, which is weird because then I always think the formula is you need to win. You go like 4-2 in the AFC South, and you want to win a lot of your home games. Well, that would put them 0-2 at home if they do what I said they might do. No, I'm sorry, that'd be 1-2 at home. But I kind of think that's how it's going to go. Either way, if you're 3-3, the script is so much unwritten about the year.
Yep.
But some of the things that have happened this early in the season have the feel of the buzz of building toward kind of what we had in 2017. I'm not saying that means they're going to the AFC Championship game. I just like
kind of what it sounded like.
Well, that's okay. I just like the feeling.
No,
you can feel something in town. And we're gonna get that tonight at Mellow Mushroom. Watch a show at 7:00 on Fox 30, or you can come out there, Austin. But if you're not going to come out there, I got a feeling tonight
busy, I would.
The place will be packed.
No, I agree. But to be fair with the buzz, though, I think there was buzz last year going into that game against New England when they,
there was
beat New England. And
good point.
Yeah, but I'm trying to bring it back down just a little bit.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but
no,
I understand.
The place was rocking. I mean,
as they should have been. You beat New England. You beat the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, you're right. After the first month, it was crazy around here. So, like I said, it's very much unwritten.
And then a couple months later, it was a little different environment.
Yeah. You almost do forget how bad last year was for the Jags. You almost forget what it felt like in the first month.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked that question sometime last week, didn't I? I think coming off the Denver win, I said, what feels better?
You did.
2-2 or 3-1?
Yeah.
And, again, we're kind of prisoners of the moment. So a lot of people said, well, right now. Well, not really, because Blake Bortles was playing really good football. You felt really good about things. You had just beaten the Patriots and the Jets. You're 3-1 going to Kansas City. But I looked up something, and I forget the exact matchups. But if you were a realist last year, even at 3-1, you were like, oh, this is daunting now the next few weeks. It was on the road at Kansas City. It was on the road at Dallas. And then I forget what else was after that. But the schedule really tightened up and got tougher. This time around, I wouldn't say Carolina and New Orleans are easy, but I just think because of their quarterback situations, they don't seem as daunting, and one of those games are at home.
But remember, though, going into that Kansas City game, at least what I thought is that the Jaguars were going to deal with them because we didn't know what Kansas City was really capable of yet.
We'd only seen a month of Mahomes.
We didn't really know what Mahomes was able to do. So, yeah.
Well, and if you go back to that game, they had every chance if they didn't turn the ball over 5 times, and many in the red zone. They had every chance to win that game in a shootout. I mean, it looked so ugly. It was so bad. And then what really derailed things was the fact that the Dallas game the next week was just a butt-whooping, man. That was like reminiscent of 2013, 2014, some of those games, games that you probably were a part of in the Malarkey year. That was like, that didn't feel like a team that had started 3-1, gone to the AFC Championship game. That was more like, if you're good, you don't lose a game like that. Like, you're never in the game.
Correct.
That was a tough one to shoot.
Yeah, that was a bad game.
I was on the sidelines recording video of that one, and it was just like, oh no.
And there's a part of it. Listen, man, I was a Red Sox fan. I still am a Red Sox fan. I mean, you know this in some organizations. I think the Bills go through this. I think the Browns go through this. And I can't believe the Browns are in primetime again, but that's a different story. I think the Raiders go through this. I think there are some organizations that go through this, and I think the Jags are in that conversation, where as soon as you do have a bad game, as soon as you do start like, wait a minute, that feels like stuff that we've been through before, then you can't almost get it out of your head from a fan base. And sometimes it invades the building, too, where it's like, oh, here we go again. This is us. This is who we are. That was a one-off thing. This, I don't know. I don't know if that feel – we'll see where that feel goes in the next month. I think this month will do a lot to take us to a certain place in our minds of where the Jags season is going, because the back half is a manageable schedule. There are some tough games, but it's a manageable schedule. If you get through the first 6 games, you're still in it. First 8 games, you're still in it. I think the Jags will feel really good. I would feel really good about the Jags' chances to make some noise in the second half of the year. We'll see what the health situation's like. We'll see what the quarterback situation's like. But the schedule-wise, getting through those first 6 games and still being in it, I think was a big victory for this football team. So got to get a win in the next 2 weeks, in my opinion, to go to 3-3 at the very least.
Yeah, and to be fair, though, when we talk about the back end of the schedule, it looks a little easier. Well, we got to remember, Brent, this is the NFL.
Nothing's
easy. It's a week-by-week thing. Like, who's to say that the back week maybe you play some of the toughest teams? Because while you're supposed to get a gauge of, 4 weeks, 5 weeks into the NFL season, what kind of team you have, if you would have told me that Tampa Bay would fly across the country and put a whopping on the Los Angeles Rams, I would have said, you guys are crazy. Jameis Winston, come on. But no, that's exactly what they did. So,
mollywopped.
There we go. Curb stomped. Pick your term. But
don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. And what have you?
Are we making a shirt? What are we doing here? We brainstorming for
everybody's making shirts.
Austin shirts.
These are things that I say all the time, I guess. But so to be fair, I mean, it's easy to say that right now, Brent. But let's wait till it actually, we're on the back end of the schedule to dictate how hard those teams are going to.
And the thing I'm kind of looking at is the fact that there is so much AFC South action left.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's 4 games to go.
4 more to go.
And 3 of them right in a row.
Correct. And so, I think that really will be – because, look, it's like when you and your friend are running from a bear. You don't have to be faster than the Bear. You just got to be faster than your friend. We don't have to be faster than all the AFC, just the other 3 teams in the division.
Gosh,
there you go.
I'm now thinking twice about going on a road trip with Weber.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care
Well,
about
I was
me.
going to say, don't take me with, man, because I will outrun the socks off you.
For how long?
I already told you.
For how long?
Yeah, what distance?
I mean, I'm a cardio specialist for fighting, so pretty long, I guess. Why, are you trying to call me out?
I mean, if we're talking long distance running, I'm not going to be like Marcel and say I can out-sprint you in 100.
I'll trip you. How does that sound?
Well, now you're getting dastardly here.
This is survival, sir.
You just had us getting
This
eaten
is
by
what
a
we call
grizzly.
nature
I'm just
here.
saying.
Oh, I dare
Who
to
got
run against
dastardly
me.
here?
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, I trip you, and it's like unsportsmanlike. Come on.
All right, here we
That's
go.
exactly
You ready?
what that is.
Here we go.
All right, what do you got?
You got them beating the Panthers or losing the Panthers?
Let me see if Jalen Ramsey's playing first.
He's not.
Oof, I honestly like Carolina.
Okay. Saints. Go ahead, Weber. You can jump in.
I have them beating the Panthers.
Okay, Saints. Keep track of your records. Come on, this is
Go ahead,
supposed to be
Stuart.
fast.
Okay,
Don't think so much.
Saints. Did they beat the Saints?
Yep. I think the Saints
what do you
beat them.
think?
3-3. I got them too.
Okay.
Bengals win, right?
Correct.
Yes.
4-3. We got them all 4-3. Jets here at home.
Yes.
That's a win.
5-3.
Yep.
Texans in London.
See,
I'm giving it to the Jags because of the London
My
experience.
gosh, Jags are hot right
They're
now
hot.
in your
They
mind.
can't
Picking the
lose.
Jags,
They
too.
can't lose. Yeah.
6-3 for them. I don't know about that one. Yeah, you got to split that. At the Colts.
I think that's a tough one for them.
Coming off the bye, but a loss. Okay, 6-4.
It's tough because you got to know where they're at that point. That's why these things never work. But I'll go 6-4 too. I'll say they lose that game. I say they win that game. I think the mental standpoint has changed. It is now on their side.
You're not so much. Come on, don't homer up on all this stuff.
Give me the Jaguars. I don't think Mariota is the real deal. I think I like the Jaguars.
You guys got them 7-4. I might have a loss on that one. 7-5, 6-5. Buccaneers.
What week is this?
Home. This is December 1st. This is
is Foles back or not? That's the real question right now. We don't know.
I like both the quarterbacks. That's fine.
Buccaneers. I'm taking Jacksonville.
I will randomly say Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I don't know why.
You're at 7-5. I'm at 7-5. You're at 8-4. Chargers at home.
No.
Phillip Rivers has killed this team.
Melvin Gordon will be back and good to go by then.
7-6 for us. 8-5 for you. At the Raiders.
I think this is the one that's like they got to win it, but they don't. I mean, on paper, absolutely.
I don't think they win it. Oakland's going to be charged up. Final home game ever in that building.
I know.
And it's the East Coast to West Coast.
And that hurts,
they just won their first Mountain or Pacific Time Zone game since 2008. It's hard to pick the Jags. I don't care if they were playing some peewee team.
Yeah.
It would be hard to pick the Jags in this game. Then at the Falcons and versus the Colts. I like 2 wins.
I say
there.
win-win. That puts me at 9-7, which is
where I
what
was,
I actually
9-7.
had them before this season.
Me too, actually.
Funny enough.
Yeah.
So you got to steal an extra one. You got to get to 10 wins. You had them about 10 wins. 9 or 10 wins.
You think it takes 10 to win the division right now?
I think I'd feel comfortable with 10, yeah.
You feel comfortable with 10, but I think 9 might get the job done.
Here's a big thing. They were 1-1 in all what we did with the division.
Yeah.
Again, I believe if you go 4-2, you win the division.
Yeah.
So they have to sweep the Texans and Titans, or how do they get to 4 wins? Is the big key.
Correct.
With 4 games remaining. They have to win 3 out of the 4 in the division. So Colts at the end of the year, okay, we'll give them that
I had
one.
them
That's
splitting
2.
sweeping the Titans and splitting the other 2 to get to 4-2.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. See, that's the formula to me.
Oh,
the formula to me is always go 5 wins at home, maybe a 6th win at home, and go 4-2 in the division. If you do that, most likely. Now, there's outliers. Like, I think it was Tennessee. They missed the playoffs, and they went – or no, they didn't miss the playoffs, but they didn't win the division in 2017. The Jags won it, and I think Tennessee was 5-1 in the division and still lost.
Yeah.
So that's an outlier, but I think most of the time you take care of your division, you're probably going to win your division.
And London's a home game, too.
And London gets counted as a home game against Houston. So we'll see how it all shakes out. You know what that just told me? There's a lot up in the air still.
There's really a lot in the air, which is fun.
But I like how you guys had them out to like 6-3.
I think I had them at 7-3. And before coming back to 7-7, I might have streaky.
Yeah, that was streaky. Well, Marone's been streaky.
Yeah.
His teams have been streaky. I told you that earlier
streaking.
in the
Here we
week.
go.
I think they won 7 of 8 in 2017. I think they lost 9 in a row, I think it was, last year in 2018. We might be in the middle of a streak. The other thing is you want to be playing your best football in November and December. So if you want to get a streak going, that's the time to do it.
We won 2 in a game. You win 2. That's a winning streak. I try to do a little major league there for you.
Hey, quick thought. Let's do it at the other side. I want your thought. You're a wrestling guy now in Action Sports Jax.
I guess so, yes.
We got some bowling and
I'm
falling.
doing research trying to get
coming
there.
up that I think will include that, plus some baseball talk. The Rays are in. The Rays against the Astros. The
David
Yankees
and Goliath.
Twins.
Come on.
And in the National League, it starts today. Do you have Braves fever?
I do. 15 minutes from now, my friend.
15 minutes away from the Braves. Let's talk a little bit about baseball. We don't do it very often, but I think it's a cool thing. I mean, you got the Braves and the Rays kind of in the mix in the postseason. It's
Wake
pretty
me
cool.
up when you talk about hockey.
Sorry, Brewers fans.
Iceman, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday.
Home opener. Outside.
Thanks, Bob.
Falling and falling when we come back.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Florida. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Golic and Wingo.
So now we're looking at the idea of Sam Darnold coming back for week 5.
You are literally staring down the barrel of 0-6, without question.
And you know who's really upset about that? The Miami Dolphins. They're like, whoa, what are you doing, man?
We're taking for
We
2.
had this plan. What are you guys doing? You spent money. You're not supposed to be with us, man.
The only good thing is the Jets have their quarterback, so they don't have to worry about that.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Golic and Wingo.
I don't know if I've ever felt worse for a kid in the league than Josh Rosen, right? It's like deja vu for him. He's going through this all again. We may never know what Josh Rosen could or could not have been because of the 2 situations he's found himself in.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Hi, I'm Ryan Murphy, Olympic gold medalist. You're watching Action Sports Jax.
Hey, welcome back. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. If you need to go to the bathroom or something, go.
No, you're good. It's all good. I was going to get a little quick bite, but we're all good. No worries.
Quick break there.
Yeah.
It's like an NFL halftime. 12 minutes.
And I was trying to help out one of our viewers. Russell Tapley asked, "Do you think Trey Herndon plays Sunday? If he plays Sunday, should you put Hayden outside like Boye and put Trey in the slot corner position?"
No.
Yeah, I think you
Hayden's
keep it
playing
how it
well.
is.
I think I don't know how he would play on the outside, but he's playing really well on the inside.
Yeah.
That nickel has gotten so specialized that guys who are the nickel don't slide over into that outside corner spot regularly.
Aaron Colvin.
Or shouldn't, as we saw last year. Yeah.
Colvin got picked up by who? The Redskins? I think he did.
I didn't see where he went.
Yeah.
God bless him. That's not fun right now in Washington. All right, let's do some bowling and falling, which I think will include some all-elite wrestling, but I also want to talk about the Braves. So my bowling can just simply be, hey, the Rays got in. Fine. Good. We'll talk more about the Rays later. I love the fact that the Rays are in. I like the Rays are in. Ty likes the Rays. It's good for the Rays. I like their team and organization, and I think Kevin Cash has been unbelievable. Still can't name 5 Tampa Bay Rays, and that's wild. But all that stuff is fine. I think Oakland would have been better off to be in my Huckleberry bet because I think Oakland could have taken down Houston or the Yankees more likely. That's the way I feel about it. Hopefully I'm wrong and Tampa can do the same. But it's not all about me. Yes, it is. Atlanta Braves, though, let's talk a little baseball because you're a Braves fan, Weber.
I am, yep.
They first pitch it here in about 10, 15 minutes. I talked to somebody today. It was interesting. They said they're not baseball fans anymore, and then they got back on the Braves train. They were watching the Braves win Chipper Jones and everything, and then they got off it. And of course, the Braves weren't very good. And,
yeah, they had a dry spell there.
Yeah. Well, now they got back on, and now they're like every game. And they're in it. And again, that's what winning does. And some people say, well, that's a bandwagon fan. Whatever you want to characterize it as, that's what happens. I can tell you the stadium's more filled when the Jags win than when they lose. I mean, that's just what happens. And I think the Braves are in there. They're one of the most fun teams. They have been for the last couple of years. but nobody's talking about them with a chance to win it all. Nobody is saying the Braves have a chance to win it all, despite all the talent they have.
And that's the thing, is that they have a really good top-to-bottom kind of roster. I mean, especially when you're talking about pitching. The pitching is so good that Julio Teheran doesn't make the playoff roster. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's kind of been synonymous with being that Brave starting pitcher, that guy, that Haas for them the last few years, and he's the number 5 starter, so he's not even on the playoff roster in Julio Teheran. You talk about the young guy, Austin Riley, he gets left off the playoff roster. So they have a very deep team when it comes.
Riley was like Gardner Minshew for a month and a half.
He was hot. He was hot there for a while, and he just, because of the way the bench kind of worked out, they didn't really have a spot for him here in the postseason. But I like that spread out, wealth of talent all the way across the lineup to where you feel comfortable 1 through 9 when they're at the plate, that they can get something started. And they do still have the guys who are bombers who can still launch it out of the park as well. The one thing I'm worried about for the Braves is at the end of the year, they almost kind of shut it down a little bit. And I get the reasoning. You want your guys to be healthy, but at the same time, I feel like baseball is such a momentum sport that you want to go into it playing your best ball and having your guys seeing those pitches. And maybe Ronald Acuna. You talk about the guys who maybe aren't looking at it the same way. Freddie Freeman's been out the last couple games. They're going to be healthy, but I hope that their timing's good as they get it going with the Cardinals here today.
I think it is hard to recapture that sometimes. Mm-hmm. That's a real thing, and especially in a short series. Yeah. So Braves are fun, man. I think it's cool. I haven't been around here when the Braves have been good, and I understand there's this decent Braves area. It's not like a Rays area. There's baseball fans around. That's why we don't talk a lot of baseball, even though I love baseball. But I get it. There's not a lot of yeah, let's talk more baseball. I can't get enough baseball. We're talking water cooler baseball. But I get right now it's a different time, right? I mean, you can have, if the Rays were to have a home game, which they will against Houston, there was 9,000 there when they were tied for the wild card lead playing the Red Sox, and there was nobody there. Well, I guarantee you it will be sold out or close to sold out because of the postseason. We saw it in the Nationals. The crowd was amazing. The Astros place will be lit, as the kids say. The Oakland was. Oakland, they were lining up
50,000 people.
They were lining up 8 hours before the game in Oakland for playoff baseball. Baseball's a long season, so you get tired of it even from a fan perspective. But this rejuvenates everybody. The Braves have had good crowds all year, really, for the last 2 seasons.
They have,
but I think people have a fever about it right now. It's October, man. It's baseball.
You talk about people in this area. I think people my age and maybe a little bit older. I'm 34. People that age who grew up in the state of Florida before the Marlins or the Rays existed. They're all Braves fans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you had the Superstation. A lot of places are like that. If you didn't have a team, you had the Braves because they were on TV because of TBS. For me, it's because they had spring training in West Palm Beach where I grew up. So, every year we'd go to their spring training right there before they moved up to Disney. And so there's a lot of Braves fans in the state of Florida because of the fact that it happened before the Marlins and Rays even came here.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other note, too, the Cardinals know how to win. We'll find out if the Braves can learn how to win in the postseason.
True.
It's a different animal. Just look at the Rays. You see, Oakland.
There's a little controversy there, by the way, because you remember in 2012 when you had the umpire make the infield fly rule.
Yeah.
He's the crew chief of this series.
Really? Oh, they're already in their heads.
Already there.
Go.
Yeah?
Excuses abound.
Hey, I'm just saying.
But did you see? I didn't realize that. You talk about West Coast bias and the A's don't get talked about. Do you see they've lost 9 straight games in elimination games? Now going back to the year 2000.
It's not a good look.
It's up there with the old 76ers and the old New York Rangers, and weird stat because if you had asked me that question, which baseball team, I would have said the Nationals up until the other day. True. The Nationals have been all the talk about that. They have all this talent, haven't been able to get it done. They finally got over that. Now you can get into that rut real quick, especially if you're in that one-game playoff. So the Braves have to avoid that. It would be nice for the Braves, I think overall the Braves are better. I feel like they're better than the Cardinals. I think they should beat the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals know how to win. Organizational-wise, for the last decade and a half and really for a long time, they know how to win games.
And you talk about that rut of, losing series after series. I get a little frustrated by winning a one-game playoff and then being like, well, that's your series win. It's like, no, it was one game.
Yeah,
it's weird for baseball.
It is.
I just think that the Braves, I think they got them in pitching, man. Because I haven't followed the Cardinals a little bit, obviously, because they're toe-and-toe with the Brewers, and it seems like whenever the Cardinals play away, their pitching just kind of goes downhill. They really have one good ace in Flaherty, and everybody else I'm not really impressed with. So I think, like you mentioned, the Braves are good top to bottom. I think you can beat the Cardinals pretty easily, actually.
Yeah,
but don't quote me.
Nothing's ever easy in baseball. Baseball is it can be a finicky sport when it comes to the postseason.
I'll say Braves in 5. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And remember, these are short series. The first rounds are just 5 games, which gives it better upset potential, I believe.
Yeah.
Go Twins. Go Rays. Joining the Cardinals and Braves, by the way, here on ESPN 690 in progress. So once we get off at 6 o'clock, we'll join that game in progress. But quite frankly, people, we're more important than the Cardinals and Braves, so we're going to hang with ourselves until 6 o'clock.
You could drop in some updates here and there.
We could. I will do that. Yeah, cool. But when the pomp and circumstance
get audio of that,
is done,
by the way.
Pomp and circumstance all done. They probably don't even throw that first pitch until 10 past, quarter past. You won't miss much of it, but you can join it again in progress. Cardinals Braves tonight at 6 o'clock. In fact, here on ESPN 690, if you like baseball, we'll have all the baseball playoffs. Now, our show may interrupt at times, but for the most part, if you're looking for the Major League Baseball playoffs, we will have it. All right, that was my ball on a little Rays and talking Braves. What you got for balling?
I mean, do you want me to go wrestling right now? Because I had something different for balling, then cruise control is going to be wrestling.
Well, that's
but whatever.
Fine. You do whatever you had for balling.
Okay, balling.
We'll talk wrestling later.
Okay, balling. Speaking of baseball, Mattress Mac. You did see this story?
I saw this.
So a gentleman,
he's about to be falling.
We'll see. By the name of Mattress Mac, placed a bet on the Astros for, brace yourselves, $3.5 million. And if the Astros win the World Series, he would get $7.7 million back. Whew.
Well, here's the deal.
It's quite the
I'd
bet,
be
man.
ticked off if I was his kids, because Mattress Mac is like 94 years old. Have you seen the picture of him? I mean,
so this is like...
He's not really that old, but he looks like...
Okay.
And so he might be super old, and I don't know if he has kids, but I'll be like, hey, that's my $3.5 million.
Yeah,
But here's the thing.
Good call.
Here's the thing. He's just trying to offset the losses that would come, because his mattress promotion is that if the Astros win the World Series, everybody gets the free mattress. Well, his thought is, and by the way, that $3.5 million wasn't the only bet he laid. He's trying to find other places that will take as much as he can.
Yeah, it's the biggest American bet, I think, that...
The thought process is, if I just bet $10 million, I'm going to lose $10 million regardless. But if I bet $10 million on the Astros, then if that happens, I lose $10 million on the furniture, but then I win however much I win from betting.
It's a hedge.
It's a hedge.
I actually read he will lose $7.7 million if the Astros win on all the free mattresses and whatever else.
Sure.
So he'll lose 7.7. He's hedging 3.5 of that.
Yeah.
Right
Okay,
now.
I got you.
So he knows
Still
he's screwed
aggressive.
either way.
Yeah,
it's very aggressive. Yes.
Still $3.5 million. I don't know.
But you know what? We're talking about him in Jacksonville, Florida. So shout out to
what
the
you
Mac.
got?
Yep. Fallen. Nathan Collier is he's a food and beverage vendor that works at Hard Rock Stadium during Dolphins games. Well, he's facing 2 felony charges after he charged a fan $724 on his own private card reader. Obviously, this is 2019, so anytime you make a transaction, it pops up on your cell phone. So the fan purchased his beer, whatever it was, swiped the card, all of a sudden $700 and something on his phone. He brought it to the guy's attention. Guy got arrested because
I knew beer prices were high, but that's a little ridiculous.
I know. So he was trying to scam the guy out, basically, because he had his own card reader.
Would it be a stretch to say, that's a lot of, that's a bad call, by the way, by that guy that was going to get caught. I think, is it a stretch to say Antonio Brown has already put a bad, voodoo on the New England Patriots? They only score 16 points on offense. Tom Brady's been a little limited. He's still a little upset at the fact that Brown's not there. They lose Gostkowski, their kicker.
Yeah.
And have to sign Nugent, the veteran. So now all of a sudden you've been money on kicking over the last 2 decades with Adam Vinatieri and Gostkowski. Now you bring a new one to the fold. Like I told you, Antonio Brown and winning doesn't go together. And I think the New England Patriots they're gonna start having some of these issues.
At the end of the day, Brent, like my fantasy football team, we're both undefeated. So until that time,
I guess I'm like the Dolphins then.
Yeah.
Take it for Tua, baby.
So until that time, you're still the man until they get beat by the man.
Yeah, they won't lose to teams they're playing. That's for sure.
Hey, Bills are pretty solid.
Are we in a keeper league, by the way, in our fantasy?
We are not in a keeper league.
No.
Thank goodness. Kaylee would like it to be known she picked Sammy Watkins first, not Leonard Fournette. When we come back, the young guys for the Jaguars. How well did the Jags draft this past April? That's next on ESPN 690.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville September 27th, and there's no better time to lock up your seat in the main event than right now. You will find satellites into the $5,000 buy-in main event for as little as $120. Satellites are going on now. Get ready to take your shot at $1 million prize pool in the WPT main event. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjax.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. ESPN 690, Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. It seems that Minshew mania is spreading because now he has just been named the AFC's Rookie of the Month. Minshew in 4 games has completed 84 of 121 passes with 905 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a single interception for a passer rating of 106.9. Here's Minshew talking about criticisms of his arm strength.
No, I just got to play, complete balls, throw it on time, do my job. Because at the end of the day, I got guys here that count on me. And it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
And the MLB playoffs kick off tonight with 2 NL contests featuring St. Louis versus the Braves and Washington taking on the Dodgers. Stay connected to ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
All right, so that's another example of maybe he's being a distraction to the team. Give me some more, Brent. What else we got?
Brinks truck,
and we had the Brinks truck.
Yeah.
Players have shown up in old cars. Players have shown up in hot air balloons. This isn't the first time that someone showed up in an exotic vehicle to training camp. I don't see anything that's a big deal. Jalen Ramsey's not out getting arrested. Jalen Ramsey's playing football. Everything else, I'm cool with.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, we got to give away some Thomas Rhett tickets. Kuz reminds me like once a show, and then by the time 5:45 rolls around, I'm like, son of a gun.
Well, since we're reminding people of stuff, we also have the happy hour horn coming up as well.
I didn't forget about that.
Okay,
I don't forget about Vita De Louis.
Okay.
Hanging around you guys, I feel like taking a sip of it every 10 minutes.
I was going to say, I heard the promo that said the tickets were at 4:15, so I came up here then because I was going to try and steal them. But
well, we just have to mention it at 4:15.
Oh, did you do that?
So we
good man.
We did it. Actually, I did it like 4:11.
Yeah.
So we were early. That's the way I roll.
Fair enough.
yes, you early. Yeah.
So let's give away some Thomas Rhett tickets. And by the way, Weber, this is up to you. What caller do you want today?
Ooh, I like caller number 3.
3. I think we did 3 yesterday, but
we
3 is okay again.
Three's my number.
904-362-9901. And Kuz approves. He's like, yeah, that's okay. I can handle 3
I was going to say like 30.
Star 690.
Allen Iverson, I get it.
Yeah, star 690, 904-362-9901. A lot of people would say Babe Ruth instead of Allen Iverson.
Well, but he's from Philly,
yes.
you know.
I'd go Dale Earnhardt, but you know,
would
that's
also
me.
be acceptable right now.
Dale Sr. for me.
Dale Sr. would
that's
be
my
it.
number. Yeah.
So anyway, give us a call, and that concert is tomorrow night at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. It's a mouthful.
Hit him with a 15 next time, so he's got to get like a Minshew number.
Yeah, that's where I kind of want to go with it, but I don't. You mentioned Dale Sr.
Yes.
Where are we in NASCAR? We're getting close, right?
They just had the first cutoff. We're 3 races into the postseason.
Yeah, because it's like the 3rd week in November, I think, is the final one at Homestead.
Yes, for this year.
Yeah.
They're changing the schedule next year. It won't end at Homestead anymore.
True.
They just had the first cutoff, and we had some drama there in that last race. I'll tell you that much.
Truex won the first 2 races, right?
Truex won the first 2. Chase Elliott won this 3rd one. They raced at the Roval in Charlotte, if you know what that is.
Nah.
They essentially took Charlotte and turned it into a road course.
Okay.
So it's like a round oval.
Yeah.
Roval.
We're going to Charlotte this weekend, too. We're going to the Roval.
Sweet.
That's it.
Cool.
Go to the Roval. Anyhow, we now have a feud forming between Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace. Pretty exciting stuff.
Nice.
Why?
Bowman took him out. Apparently, Bowman got upset that Bubba kept flicking him the middle finger. And so
did he get a 3-year suspension?
And no, I saw what you're talking. I know what you're talking about. And so he spun him out, and so Bubba wasn't in the postseason, but Bowman was. So it was a little surprising that Bowman would get involved with it. Bowman ended up making the final transfer spot by like 1 point, so he's still in the postseason. After the race, he was suffering from heat exhaustion, sitting outside of his car. Bubba comes up, splashes Powerade in his face.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that gamesmanship.
We got some drama.
I like that a lot. Now, was it staged or was it actually real, like, stuff here?
Oh, he splashed him. He was upset.
Well, I mean,
they
splashed each other in wrestling
I
as
have a
well.
feeling he would have tried to scuffle with him.
Yeah.
But because the dude's sitting on the ground dehydrated, you can't really
I
scuffle.
feel like Bubba's kind of a bigger dude, right? Or not? I mean,
not too many of them are really bigger dudes.
But like he seems like an athlete to me.
Sure,
I guess.
he does the thing where if there's a rain delay, he'll throw a football with the people in the
That's
stands.
what yeah, exactly. Okay.
So, yes.
Here, quick question to you.
Yes.
Out of all the NASCAR guys, what's the one guy you don't pick a fight with?
Oh, back in the day, I probably would have said Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
You know, he was one that would scrap with you for sure. I don't know, maybe that's a good question. Maybe Ryan Newman right now.
Okay.
He's got some size and girth to him.
Okay.
I'm just, leverage. Some of these little guys might get him, but
scrappy.
The scrappy dudes.
Okay. I just want to know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Let me ruminate on that for a moment.
Who do you is Truex going to win it all again?
It's tough, man. It's so hard to predict a winner just because it's all going to come down to that last race. So it's not really, I don't really feel like it's a true test as far as who is the champion. Like if you have bad luck in the last race and you're one of those 4 guys, you're not going to win the championship.
You can't win it, yeah.
But I mean, he could be a favorite right now. I think Kyle Busch still has something left to come back and get it. We'll see. It's fun.
I think so many of these sports are trying to figure, whether it's golf or NASCAR, trying to figure out the right formula to make it kind of that one-off thing, but also not minimize what the season has been. Whether it, like how make it the college football format, make it the NFL format, make it all what we're used to. But it's hard to do it in those sports because if you make it the Final Four and that's pretty much winner take all, well, then do you minimize what happened the rest of the year? And I think that's what these sports are facing. It's a tough thing. There's no easy answer for it.
You know what the formula is, and the PGA Tour did this last year? Finish your season before football season starts. That's the formula.
That is really
Find a way
formula.
to get your season to end before football season starts because those 4 months are just gone.
They sure seem like they are gone.
People will go to some, but even me, who's a pretty big NASCAR fan, and part of it's because we work so much, I haven't been able to keep track because on Sundays we're at the NFL games, we're covering stuff, and maybe that's just me, and I'm speaking for the world from my experience. But I just feel like you're going up against a battle you can't win.
Yeah, and it feels that way. And see, what I would say is get it off Sunday then. Well,
Sure.
then Saturday's college football,
Yeah.
and Friday's high school football, and Thursday night's still Thursday night football, and Monday's Monday night football. I don't know where you put it. I mean, really,
Football has dominated the calendar.
The only place to put anything is on a Tuesday. It's like the day off of the NFL.
We got nothing on Tuesdays.
I mean, Wednesday you could sneak
that's bowling
something
night
in
for
too.
me, though, so that's tough. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm sure they're concerned about your bowling night.
New season just started. We're 3-0.
The only place to put any of those things are Tuesday and Wednesday. I think that really eliminates, because I'm not a big fan of getting in the way of high school football. Saturday has become such a big college football slate that you don't want to mess with that.
Especially in the Southeast where NASCAR is big.
Yeah, so I don't know the answer to do it. They obviously don't either. I get what you're saying, but I also don't think they totally want to say, okay, football, we bow down to you.
Yeah.
You don't. I don't think you want to lose that, because at some point maybe football starts fading, and then what do? Bring it back? So I think that's what they try to avoid, almost like from an ego standpoint. But at the same time, some have made adjustments. I mean, the PGA Tour schedule is an adjustment to the football season.
Well, the thing I like about NASCAR is they are constantly adjusting. It's not.
You like it, but it almost might be too much. I have no idea the rules or what goes on anymore. They have to steady it out at some point.
At some point, they will. Maybe, I don't know.
You're
keep
right.
Changing constantly.
They do. They're proactive.
Yes, they are very proactive.
But when you can't follow it at something like, okay, where is this race? What does it mean? Is it the playoffs? Is it the chase? Is it the this? Is it the that? I think it does. They have to figure it out eventually.
Well, next year, it's another big schedule change, and then we'll see how that works.
But they're in an interesting time. They're in a definitely. They know it. That's when we go down to Daytona. We talk about it. They know, like, they're in an odd time. They're trying to figure things out. They think they have ideas. They're on a turnover of star drivers right now, too. So there's a lot to figure out. Wow, that's the most we've talked about NASCAR in a long time.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Jaguars. This is what I wanted to do. The young players, look what the Jaguars have done in their draft class. Okay? First-round pick Josh Allen. Been pretty productive. Hasn't been dominant, but he's been pretty productive. Obviously, that Tennessee game was very productive. I think, actually, Josh Allen, you'd like to see him show up a little bit more at this stage now that we've got 4 weeks. It's really been the 1 week that I really remember Josh Allen. Round number 2, Jawan Taylor. I think he's doing a pretty good job. You know, he's had his penalties, but I think overall he's doing a pretty good job. Round 3, Quincy Williams. Josh Oliver comes back this week, it looks like, so we'll see him.
Fingers crossed.
Been a whatever. Yep. But Raquel Armstead, Quincy Williams, been very good. Yeah. You know, I think overall the people like what they see. There's been mistakes. We had it yesterday on the show, but there's a lot to like. Raquel Armstead didn't have a 4th-round pick, so Raquel Armstead is the 5th-round pick. Gardner Minshew's the 6th-round pick. Enough said. And, I mean, even
Dontavius Russell.
Dontavius Russell is on the roster. He's not going to make an impact. But so you take your first
He's a project,
6 picks, and and minus Josh Oliver, I guess. Yeah. So that would really be a 7th pick, right? Because they had 2 third-rounders. I'm going all the way up to the 6th rounder, but they didn't have a 4th-rounder. No, that'd be 6 picks.
Minus, yeah.
Yeah, so
correct.
take 5 out of your first 6 picks.
Yep.
And I still have, by the way, high hopes for Josh Oliver, especially in this offense with DiFilippo. But, man, they are contributing an unbelievable amount and in a big-time way. What a draft class for the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's arguably right now, it's probably the best draft class so far in the NFL, and that's simply because of Gardner Minshew. You know, anytime you can get a starting quarterback playing at a high level in the 6th round, you've had a pretty good draft class regardless of how everything else shakes out. And I think when you got Jawan Taylor in the 2nd round, you know, and Houston was adamant about adding to their offensive line, they took a risk on some smaller school guys. Well, how's that paying off so well? You know, I think Jawan Taylor would be a better pickup for the Houston Texans. So to get him in the 2nd round, have him be the starting right tackle right now, and then obviously Josh Allen. So all things considered, Quincy Williams as well has been a nice, you know, I guess a nice little piece in that defense. He has made some mental mistakes, but he has all the physical tools and he has all the intensity. So, yeah, I think it's probably been the best draft so far in the NFL this year.
I think it's great to see for the Jaguars, but the fact that so many of them are having to play is really kind of showing you that, hey, we've had some injuries at some key spots. I mean, you talk about the quarterback going down and you have to put in the late round guy. You talk about having to plug your right tackle right in there starting day 1, boom, go. Linebacker, obviously huge. Usually you only want that 1st and 2nd round guy to kind of project as a starter right away.
Maybe 3rd, yeah.
Maybe 3rd, and that's kind of what it's been. You know, you kind of figured 1 and 2, Josh Allen, big part of the rotation. Jawan Taylor had a good chance of winning that job when he was going up against Ogbuehi and whoever else would be on the right tackle side. And then you jump in with Quincy there in that 3rd spot, who by virtue of Telvin not being here has to get in there and go. But it's interesting that so many young guys have had to play. It's great that they've done well. It's surprising that they've had to really step up. And hey, props for the Jags picking the guys that have had the ability to step up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they're starting. What you have to do when you have so many big money guys, right? When you have Calais making big bucks, and at the time Marcel Darius and Andrew Norwell, and you've got Blake's money still on there, and you paid Miles Jack, and you're gonna have to pay. Maybe we'll see with Jalen, but with Ngakoue, all those things. But you have big money players. What you better be able to do is complement those big money guys with some low budget talent and production. And I think right now they're showing that they've been able to do that. Even last year, they take Ronnie Harrison. Ronnie Harrison, big interception the other day. And I think Ronnie Harrison has shown up sometimes. I also think he has not really gone as high as I thought this would almost be a breakout year for Ronnie Harrison. I'm not ready to say that. I think he's also made some mistakes.
Had the best interception we've had all year.
Yes. Jared Wilson, though, has filled in admirably. I mean, that's not like somebody they just picked up. They've had him in the system, but he's done a nice job. I don't think we're seeing an eyesore with Tayshaun Gibson not being there. You could have said that coming out of the Kansas City game, but I don't know if we're saying that now with Jared Wilson back there through the first month of the year. Quincy Williams we talked about this yesterday or 2 days ago. He's almost made you forget that Telvin Smith isn't playing. Not because maybe he's as productive as Telvin Smith, but he's not like, oh, my gosh, what are we doing to replace Telvin Smith? He's doing enough stuff enough good things, you can see the arrow up enough where you're like, okay, this is something that can replace Telvin Smith. So I do think you have to give that front office that's been under a ton of scrutiny and a ton of heat, especially with the Ramsey stuff going on. They got to get a little credit along the way for some of the guys they have playing. And I also will throw in there second-year guys. I said Ronnie Harrison, but what about DJ Chark, man? Oof. DJ Chark looks like a star guy all of a sudden for this Jacksonville Jaguars football team.
And let's keep this in mind, too, especially with Quincy Williams, where everybody thought that the Jaguars reached up to get him. Nobody was really giving Quincy Williams a chance when he got here. You know, I mean, the NFL Network didn't even have footage of him. Yeah. So there was a lot of experts out there that said, you know, this was a horrible pick. I think there might have been one or two teams that kind of came out and defended the Jaguars front office a little bit and said, oh, yeah, Quincy Williams was kind of. San Francisco was one of them. Was Atlanta one of them, too?
I think it might have been.
Okay,
but San Francisco, definitely.
But, I mean, that's been the biggest risk, right? I mean, yeah, Gardner mentioned the 6th round. I get it. But that was the biggest risk. And listen, say what you want about Quincy Williams. Yes, he made a couple mental mistakes, and then that final drive that we broke down. But it's like I said yesterday, when this guy makes a tackle or he's in on a play, he shows up every single time on film. And I'm not sure you can say that with Telvin Smith. Telvin Smith made a lot of great plays. But just, you know, the tenacity and the intensity that Quincy Williams brings, it's almost like, hey, check me out here. Like, if you're Quincy Williams, you have to like going to watch film every single day because you're going to pop up like 20 to 50 times. So.
Yeah, here's the deal. He seems like, so far, now this again, I'm not watching every play, but what we've discussed now, especially this week, is he's an all-or-nothing guy. Yeah. It's like he pops up on the film, but you're yelling at him or you're applauding him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you know what? I'd rather have an all-or-nothing guy that you can teach to, you know, make those, like the key mistakes, things like that. I'd rather have that guy than a guy that doesn't want to hit somebody and come downhill.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much he grows because people are going to watch that film, at least from the stuff you broke down, and say, okay, we're going after 56 a little bit.
Well,
and I think they've already been going.
You can put him in situations where maybe McCaffrey's got to get taken by him a little bit,
well, it's tough, but it's a great, interesting matchup because of the speed you talk about.
Exactly.
The speed and physicality. And even that's something McCaffrey has to worry about. So you didn't have to worry. You had to worry about the speed with Telvin, but you weren't worried about getting knocked into next week. Well, with Quincy Williams, you do have to worry about that a little bit. So it'll be a fascinating watch to see that breakdown. But I do think it hit me, I don't know how many different ways, but when Gardner Minshew is throwing to Raquel Armstead after that beautiful play, that's two rookies playing and making a huge play in a football game for you. Ronnie Harrison, second-year guy. DJ Chark's been unbelievable the first few weeks, catching everything. If he doesn't land in bounds, he still catches it. If it's thrown in the parking lot, he catches it. I mean, that guy catches everything right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, you know, and even if you want to stretch this, and I don't want to go this far with it, but a guy like Will Richardson, who we left for dead, is now part of the rotation on the offensive line, and really by the next couple of weeks might be taking that job. So they've been able to have some finds in the draft that are really solid. And what you have to be able to do, I think, from an early standpoint, I will say this again. You said it. Gardner Minshew wasn't supposed to play. I mean, this wasn't supposed to be a guy that played, but he's ready to play. That's a nice find. Quincy Williams, to me, when they drafted him, now I think they knew that there was a little bit of a by that time the story had played out. They're like, we might need a guy to play here. But when they were looking at him in the draft process or they thought they might pick him or they liked him and nobody else really did, I don't think they intended 2019 to be the year where they had to rely on him on that weak side linebacker position, maybe special teams or other things. But I think it was for next year. Well, they've jumped in early and been able to fill the role. There's not a lot of depth behind Leonard Fournette. It was a big topic. We talked about it. Raquel Armstead catches a pass for a touchdown, also spelled Leonard nicely. It took a few weeks, but he's finally getting some times on the sideline to catch his breath, and Armstead looks encouraging. So that's a very good thing. And again, I still think Josh Oliver, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, I say Josh Allen would have been slam dunk. I think that guy's going to be really good. Let's push him off to the side. If you could pick a guy that could have a big impact as a rookie, we would have might have said Josh Oliver. Haven't seen him yet. We get to hopefully see him against Carolina. Could be a lot of fun to watch.
And keep in mind, when we're talking about all these Jaguars draft picks the past 3 or 4 years, you know, a lot of them, we can say, especially in the first couple rounds, have fallen to Jacksonville, right? Like whether it was Jalen Ramsey that fell, Miles Jack fell, Juwan Taylor fell, you know, Josh Allen fell. So
Cam Robinson
fell. Yeah. So from that perspective, it's like, well, of course. I mean, of course you made those picks because they're the obvious ones. But it's the picks like, you know, like the Quincy Williams, where you it was a ballsy pick.
Yeah.
I think even like DJ Chark, because didn't he have like a bunch of off the field issues that some teams weren't really giving him a chance, if I'm not mistaken, in college?
I don't think so.
Okay, then maybe I'm thinking somebody else. I could have swore DJ Chark had some like off the field stuff.
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong then. But my point is, it's the risk that you got to take a little bit, right? Like
It might have been. You thinking Didi?
Might be
Back
Didi
in a
Westbrook.
couple-
Yeah,
back in the fourth round, a couple years back.
Yeah. So like, it's those guys that you take the risks on, that you kind of vouch for, that make all the difference in a draft.
Well, and think about it. This is one. Now, listen, you can be critical of this regime and Caldwell going back years, even before Coughlin, and say, hey, they missed on all those. Look at those top picks. They missed. Yeah. One thing they had been pretty good at, the Didi Westbrooks of the world taking a chance on.
Yep.
The Aaron Colvins in the fourth round slipping because of the ACL during the Senior Bowl. They got Telvin Smith slipping because of the drug test. Now, I know what you're saying right now about Telvin Smith, but they got 5 years out of Telvin Smith. That was pretty darn good, at least up until this point. So they've had players like that. They actually did pretty well in the middle rounds. Brandon Linder, again, they signed him. We can debate whether they should have signed him, but he's a third-round pick that played pretty. Yannick Ngakoue fits the role. So they have done pretty well.
Logan Cook.
Well, they picked the punter in the right spot.
They did.
Not the third round. But they filled that middle section, that third, fourth, fifth round. I feel like Caldwell and his staff have done a very nice job with in their tenure here. What gets trumped by that is the fact that those top 5 picks, top 10 picks, had not been very good. And then everybody wants to point to the Taven Bryan. We still don't know where the Taven Bryan and the DeJuan Smoots and those kind of guys will end up. A little flash on that Thursday night and then kind of went back to whatever this past week against Denver. It's just interesting as you put it all together. You put more of the resume together. The Jags have made some pretty good picks in the draft. We don't want to talk about them sometimes, but they've made some pretty good picks. There's plenty to say they haven't made. Again, that's usually in the first round, and that's important. Don't leave that out. That's an important facet. If you want to win big in the NFL, you usually have to hit on those first rounders. If you want to win big in sports, you usually have to hit on those first rounders. The Houston Astros are the favorite, by the way, in these playoffs to win the World Series, because when they stunk for 3 years in a row, they nailed the first round picks. Those top 3 picks they had, were unbelievable. So you have to be able to do that if you want to sustain winning, win big. But that doesn't dismiss what they've been able to do, especially this year in this draft. So far, it looks really good for the Jacksonville Jaguars, or at least productive from that standpoint. You got an update on the Braves?
We got first and third with one out.
Very good. Well, you do have an update. That's like an in-depth update.
That's it, man.
No score yet.
No, Acuna walked, got caught stealing. Ozzie Albies walked, and then Freddie Freeman with a single out the left.
Wow.
Gets runners on the corners.
Didn't get caught stealing already. Could be a big inning for the Braves. Hey, it's 5:21. We got some playoff baseball on the horizon. Once again, the Cardinals and Braves. 6 o'clock. We'll join that in progress here on ESPN 690. Your home for the Major League Baseball playoffs right here on ESPN 690. Happy hour horn time. Before we do all that, let's hit it on the Thursday edition of the Happy Hour Horn.
Nobody come between us. Can't make nobody come between us. Oh, cherry baby.
As the careless party now begin, see the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace, no. Nothing. Anything goes. Gangsters rolling, half-face smiling. It's all about think of the rhythm, what you're drinking. Anything goes. Hey.
Grab a drink, get a shot, sip your Star Tenders.
Absolutely. Make sure you do it and maybe drink some Vida de Luis. It recently got a 94 rating. A locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville. Made in Tequila, Mexico. Shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis tequila. One of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. And by the way, help our friends in the Bahamas. Help raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising by visiting VitaDeLuis.com. 50% of all the merchandise will go to those funds. VitaDeLuis.com. 50% of all the merchandise going to the folks in the Bahamas, who we have not forgotten about, by the way, still in recovery mode in a big-time way there in the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, rolling on here on a Thursday. Coos, timeout time? Let's take a break. When we come back, we still have Stay in Your Lane, talk a little bit more football. We have a football game tonight. Big picture NFL, and I want to get a word in or two on the Gators and Auburn Tigers. We'll do a little bit more of that tomorrow, but Tigers, Gators, and did you see the HBO? You probably didn't see it. see like the Hard Knocks version of the Gators last night?
I did not see it. No, I didn't know what was going on, actually.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it, too, and then I saw Twitter talking about it, and so I caught some of it.
Good, bad?
Yeah, okay.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay. If I was a Gator fan, I think I'd really like it. Like Ty was watching, I think he really liked it. I thought it was okay.
When are they going to have the Washington State Cougars on?
I don't know. I don't even know the schedule of it. I just know that
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, that was before the Towson game. We'll talk a little bit about it. That game coming up, and also a little more NFL on the way here on a Thursday. Action Sports Jax, ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard show on ESPN Radio.
How have binoculars and just the general discomfort that comes with using binoculars, how have we not improved that?
The Dan Le Batard show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. It seems that Minshew mania is spreading because now he has just been named the AFC's Rookie of the Month. Minshew in 4 games has completed 84 of 121 passes with 905 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a single interception for a passer rating of 106.9. Here's Minshew talking about criticisms of his arm strength.
No, I just got to play, complete balls, throw it on time, do my job. Because at the end of the day, I got guys here that count on me. And it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
And the MLB playoffs kick off tonight with 2 NL contests featuring St. Louis versus the Braves and Washington taking on the Dodgers. Stay connected to ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick & Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Clearly, it's because I'm on every morning from 6 till 10 a.m. But this isn't about me. It's about your business. Get your business noticed today. First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get on our team than right now. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Outspoken Hollywood actresses, a former Nobel Prize nominee, and security and terrorism experts are coming to Jacksonville for one evening only on Saturday, October 26. Military honors will be presented for our veterans lost on September 11, 2012, while serving in Benghazi at the 7th Annual Tribute Ceremony. Music will be performed by recording artist Ann Wolf. The tribute includes commentary from some of the most knowledgeable experts in America on our nation's security, terrorism, and its heroes. This is your chance to find out what's happening all over the country. A VIP reception to welcome prominent national speakers at Jacksonville will precede the event. You can get tickets to this special evening and the VIP reception by Googling "We Can Be Heroes in Jacksonville." Discounts for seniors, veterans, and first responders are offered. Seating is limited. Please Google "We Can Be Heroes in Jacksonville" for tickets for this special event being held on Saturday, October 26. See you there.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Hi, I'm Chris Berman, and every time I come back to Jacksonville, I listen and watch Action Sports Jax.
I think it's a good defense, man. You look at their defense, they don't do a lot, but what they do well. And they got a lot of great players there, a lot of players that have a lot of experience. They play their technique super well. I think they're just a really well-coached and well-techniqued team.
That's Kyle Allen. Do quarterbacks have to study a book of cliches that you're supposed to say at a podium?
Well, of course, man. You're the quarterback. You're the face of the franchise. You're there to compete. I mean, it's like the biggest thing at the combine, right? Like, listen to a quarterback at the combine on the podium. I just can't wait to compete. Can't wait to get out there and compete. You know, it's like those buzzwords or whatever like that. And I feel like it's the same thing in the NFL. Yeah, I think every quarterback's kind of. Listen, I'm not trying to be a hater or anything, but let's be honest, it's super vanilla. You know, I mean, there's very few quarterbacks out there that kind of change the script a little bit and kind of keep you on your toes. I think Gardner Minshew, for the most part, is one of them. You know, I mean, but he also kind of says the same
he kind of does.
vanilla stuff, too.
He doesn't,
unless he's asked about something.
Yeah. I mean, he's had some fun in there, but, I mean, Blake was so good.
Yeah.
This is where Blake was good. He just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd say some stuff. There would be one time a news conference where he would be something would be kind of fun, outlandish. Now, it wouldn't necessarily be like bad against the other team, or it could get pretty cliche-ish. So I think you're right. Probably the guy that jumps out to me that might be a little beyond that or off that a bit would be Baker Mayfield.
True. Good point.
And while I don't think he's like a walking soundbite, I do think he has the ability to go off, you know, page 33 of what you're supposed to say.
Exactly.
You know?
And then, change the script up a little bit and do a little
Anybody else? I don't think anybody else.
I was trying to think.
Like, when's the last time you heard, outside of Baker Mayfield, you heard a sound bite in the business is what we call it, from a quarterback that, like, everybody's like, I can't believe he said that, or wow, or...
I mean, one thing that sticks out to me, and this wasn't really even a press conference, this was just after the game, was Kirk Cousins when he shouted, "Do you like that, baby?"
Yeah, that became
he said.
That became
like, that was
thing.
a big thing.
Are you not entertained?
Is that what he said?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No, he said, "Do you like that?" But that's what I'm talking about.
I was pretty much like, how do you like that?
Yeah, how do you like that?
Yeah.
And like...
That became like
Well, dude, that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Right? Where any other position player does that, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like the quarterback, you know, Kirk Cousins, so that sticks out to me. But as far as like a press conference
right now, they're answering that question differently in Minnesota.
Yeah, we do not like that. We want our money back.
Yeah. That's
Adam Thiel. Yeah, did you see that down to Diggs? Diggs is supposedly maybe wanting to get a trade.
Yeah, well, the headline I saw on ESPN just a little bit ago was Diggs has not demanded a trade or requested a trade, but the rumors are true. Which I don't understand the difference between the two.
Yeah.
But Stephon Diggs apparently wants out of Minnesota.
Yeah. It's an absolute nightmare right now in Minnesota, and it stems directly from Kirk Cousins.
Would you take Stephon Diggs and Dalvin Cook for Jalen Ramsey?
No, because you already got Fournette, right? I mean, if you're confident in Fournette, you got to keep him. Diggs is, Diggs is a good receiver. Dalvin Cook's a good running back. Don't need two great running backs on a team. It would be nice, but that's a luxury. And Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in the league, so I'm good.
You know, what's interesting, too, is like I was thinking of this when I saw the Diggs news and said, all right, well, wait a minute. He's got a decent resume. He's okay. He's not a star. Would the Jags be interested? I'm like, the Jags don't even need help at wide receiver right now. Isn't that weird?
I know.
Because I don't know what we thought about the Jags receiving core.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't feel like they need help. I feel like they're fine. I mean, they don't have Julio Jones. They don't have Jarvis Landry. They don't have those kind of guys. They don't have Odell Beckham Jr., but I kind of like their receivers right now.
Well, let's be honest. If for the shows during OTAs right now, we're talking, and all of a sudden Diggs becomes available, do whatever you got to do to bring him in. You're ready to bring Antonio Brown here.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't do
that. A lot of
that.
people were. It would have made for great radio.
Yeah.
At least. So maybe we should
a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we've got enough great radio around here with Jalen and Minshew Mania and Fournette going off. And speaking of Leonard Fournette, by the way, he'll join us at Jaguars All Access, 7 o'clock on Fox 30 tonight. Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. Come on out, say hello, enjoy the show, be a part of the show. Should have a nice crowd out there in Avondale at Mellow Mushroom. A couple of things to get to here. The Gators and Auburn Tigers this week. Huge game. I mean, it's the game of the week in college football.
Yeah.
It's a big one. We're going to talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, and I think the Gators are going to win this game. I think Auburn's a better team. That doesn't always matter, especially when the Swamp will be rocking. I mean, it's a big-time deal.
College game day is going to be there.
They have, by the way, the Gators have this next month, and we've talked about the next month, but it's home against Auburn, top 10 team. It's at LSU, top 10 team at night. It's at South Carolina, which doesn't look daunting, but in the middle of it all, it's an easy trap game or a look the other way game. And then, of course, there's the Georgia game right here in Jacksonville. So the next month is daunting. But what's interesting is the only time they play in the Swamp is Saturday.
Yeah.
And so they can let it all out. I mean, the crowd should be fantastic. The energy should be unbelievable. And most sports that helps. In college football, it really helps. I expect the Gators to win.
And I'm taking Auburn, and I get it. I think a lot of people are counting the Gators out. The Swamp is a tough place to play. Just Auburn right now has shown me too much of why they don't lose. They played the tougher competition, obviously. I don't think Florida's really been challenged yet. We thought Miami was going to be a pretty solid team with Manny Diaz, but they've showed that maybe they're not as good as that we thought they were. So I think Auburn, is the most underrated team in the SEC and one of the most underrated teams in all of college football. I get it; they're ranked very high, but nobody talks about them. It's all about the LSU's. It's all about the Alabamas right now. All about Georgia. You can't forget about Auburn, man. They're playing pretty solid defense. They got a young quarterback who's, continues to surge. So it's going to be a very telling game. And don't forget, too, the Florida Gators have a vicious schedule coming up now, too, Brent. So this is they have to win one of these games coming up because you got LSU, Georgia coming up, and Auburn, man. That's like murderer's row in terms of college football teams.
Yeah, they have to. I don't see them winning in Baton Rouge next week, but it would really set up a great scene in Baton Rouge if the Florida Gators were to beat Auburn. And keep everything going. What I love is always there's a collision course here in Jacksonville. Georgia undefeated, Florida undefeated, or maybe there's a one loss between the two of them, but the game means a ton for the SEC East, and let's hope that's on the line. You could realistically get a situation where, say, Georgia goes undefeated. Georgia's got nobody coming up. They got Tennessee this week, and I think Ole Miss, and I'm missing Kentucky maybe. I don't know if that's the exact schedule, but I think I'm right there. I think it is Ole Miss then Kentucky. So they've got nobody. It's a cakewalk. It should be for them to get to Jacksonville undefeated. Meanwhile, Florida, though, you could realistically have a situation where they lose this game against Auburn. They lose against LSU. Then they beat South Carolina, but they're 2 losses down to Georgia when they play here in Jacksonville. Even if they beat the Dogs, it wouldn't matter in the SEC East. Georgia's still going to Atlanta. They might already have it wrapped up by then. So this is a big game, and I hope the Gators win to keep it on track for at least that. I want the game in Jacksonville to mean everything.
Yeah,
that's when it's really fun. So one other thought, we talked about it a bit. You didn't see it. I caught about half of it. The Gators on HBO, and I think it's a cool thing for the fan base to see. I wonder what you take away from those things when you watch Hard Knocks, right? You're like, well, you don't say this because you've been involved with it, but I think the viewer says, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. That's wild. I didn't know that.
Well, I will say this, though. As a former player, even when I was playing, Hard Knocks was still a big show. It is fascinating, even as a player, to watch how other teams do things. You kind of nitpick, oh, wow, they're not going full pads today in training camp. It's kind of like the little nuances that you may not pick up on if you're a casual observer. But if you're a player, you pick up on maybe the drills, the coaching styles, and even the meetings.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's funny. You even watch it from a different way, from a drill standpoint of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I probably don't watch it that deep, and under the microscope. But I feel like I'll learn something from those HBO kind of shows.
Sure.
And then there's entertainment, right?
Yeah.
There's from the college one, you're like, hey, yeah, guess what? Dan Mullen does drop F-bombs when he's talking to his team at halftime. Yes, that does happen. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it was, okay, whatever. They're getting ready for Towson. A lot of this is introduction to the Gator program. None of it did anything crazy for me. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting. I was watching with the kids and Steph's like, what do you mean they're going to it? They're playing a home game against Towson. Yeah. And on Friday, they go into the team hotel 7 miles down the road. So they go stay in team hotel. It's like, they do that every week? They go stay in a hotel?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the Jags do it, of course. And she knew that. But the big-time colleges do it,
I guess they do, yeah. We do that, obviously.
What it is? It's expensive babysitting.
It is?
That's what it is.
No, for sure.
Right? Expensive babysitting. But I couldn't help but think about it. And this wasn't from a Florida point of view only. I just couldn't help but think about it. With all the talk this week, with the California ruling, Florida might get involved, state of Ohio, where
Kentucky's getting into it now.
Paying for the likeness of players and where all this money is, and if you're in pay for play. And we just think about that for a moment. They are taking 100 football players to a hotel 5 miles away from campus to babysit them.
Yeah.
So they don't get in trouble the night before, which certainly could happen, but it can.
No, I know,
so,
man.
I understand the reasoning behind it, but that's how much money is being thrown around in these programs. I couldn't help but make that correlation of we're talking about how much money the NCAA is making, how much money some of these schools are making. Well, that's a great illustration of it. How much do you think that costs for them to move everything for a night to the hotel?
Yeah.
before the game, a home game that is, and just because, well, we don't want anybody to get in trouble. Again, I understand. I'm not knocking Florida for this. This is what happens. I get why they do it, but it just shows you how much money is involved in big-time college football.
You're right. And, I mean, the pros do it as well, right? Like, so.
But they pay their players.
That's a good point as well. But, yeah, the whole college thing, Brent, like, we didn't, obviously at Murray State, we never had that. I know it. We're a basketball school, not a football school.
There's a good chance Murray State, by the way, lost money playing football. There's a lot of schools that lose money.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Take away the Power 5, take away a handful of other schools. There's a lot of programs around the country that lose money playing football. Now, they think it helps admissions and other things like that, so it's worth the loss. Yeah. But not everybody makes a ton of money off football.
And listen, I understand that you're worried about the guys getting in trouble, right? But that's where if you're the coach, if you're, the program, you establish the culture and be like, hey, it's game day tomorrow. Get your heads right. I mean, it's just, to me, it's like you said, like,
so you don't think it should happen? Like, you think it's silly?
I think it's silly from the cost standpoint because it's like you said, like, I picture that, like, dude, that's probably what, maybe $100 per player at least to stay in a hotel?
I would say that whole operation is at least $100 a player.
Okay, so at least $100 a player. Well, how about you just let them, stay in their dorms, stay in their respective apartments, you trust them, and then that $100 can go towards meals, for the week.
Give them $100, and you add up 6 or 7 home games, and it's $600-700.
That's extra chuck and change, man. And then that's what I think of when I hear the stories like that.
And that's my point. That's it's funny the things you pick up in those HBO specials. Like I didn't really think about it like that. I knew the Jags stayed in hotels the night before game. And for part of the same reasons, by the way, that they want to know where everybody is so they don't have to deal with that stuff. I get it. But I didn't think about it from the college level. And when we saw that was one of the things we picked up on. Overall, I think, again, if you're a Gator fan, I think if you're I think the one school that is going to be fascinating to watch, whether you're a fan or not, is Washington State. Yep. And it'll be interesting to see if there are any kind of tie-ins to Gardner Minshew.
Absolutely.
When they do run that. I got to check out the schedule. I don't even know when it's on. Hey, Saqib's jumping on real quick. We'll get to hang on that thought.
You're good.
Saqib's jumping on. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, guys?
Hey, we're great.
Hey, I would like to, I know this might be a dumbass question, but would you do Diggs for Ramsey trade?
No.
Absolutely not.
Or maybe to get some more picks from them, too.
Yeah, well, I think you would have to throw in picks and all that stuff. But here's the deal, man. We were just talking about it a little bit. Do you think the Jaguars receiving corps needs to be beefed up right now, needs help? And when I ask that question, I'm saying from a guy like Diggs. I'm not saying they're offering Odell Beckham Jr. or even a Thielen who has a better resume or Julio Jones. Yeah, they could always use a guy like that. But does Diggs make them that much better than they already are at their receiving corps right now?
Yes.
Yeah,
I like the guys that we have. I love the guys that we have. But that guy is a deep threat. Okay, Diggs is a very deep threat, and we need one more of those guys with Minshew out there or Foles out there. I really would like to see him because Ramsey doesn't want to play for this. I love Ramsey, but he doesn't want to play here, man.
Yeah.
But let's just get this done and over with. He's not going to play for the Jaguars anymore. I really don't think that.
Well, that's interesting, Saqib. I get it. I get your frustration with it, but I want to see this thing play out, man. I don't know if it's what I do for a living, and it's good for radio, it's good for TV, it's good for the drama. I don't know if that's it, but I kind of want to see what shakes out here. Like, how does this play? Who wins this battle of I don't want to be here, but we want to keep you here? So I'm not ready to give in on this thing if I'm the Jags side. I like what the Jags are doing. They're holding firm. They said, hey, you want something? You want Jalen Ramsey? Come give us a big-time offer. And if it's not good enough, we're refusing it. And then the owner comes out and says, hey, we want to keep him. We're not even trading him. I like what they're doing there because I think he's that good of a football player. Now the ball goes back maybe to Jalen's court. I disagree with you. I don't think he does sit out for too much. I think he plays, again, in a Jags uniform, whether it's Sunday next week or the week after. What did you have to say?
So I just think of, from Diggs' perspective, to trade him for Jalen Ramsey, you're trading an all-pro, a legit all-pro corner for a guy who's never made a Pro Bowl.
Well, that answers the question.
There you go.
And again, here's the other thing, right? If, say let's get a month down the road. We'll get to October 29th.
Yeah.
And Saqib calls in and asks that question again. Mm-hmm. And by that time, the Jags have lost somebody. Say somebody got hurt, knock on wood. Yeah. But somebody in the receiving corps. Well, they've got a healthy receiving corps, an up-and-coming receiving corps, a receiving corps that's getting it done. Like you talk about deep threat right now for Stephon Diggs. Well, Doesn't DJ Chark, isn't he third in the league or fourth in the league or top 5 in the league in yards per catch?
Mm-hmm.
He's like 18 yards a catch, I think, or 17 yards a catch. I think Chris Conley's up there, too, in that category. So they're getting the ball down the field.
Yeah.
And getting some chunk yardage. That wasn't a problem the other day against Denver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at their offense right now and saying, man, they just don't have a deep threat.
Yeah.
I think they have a couple guys that
they
can
have
go
multiple deep threats,
it's a
which
matter
is
if they
a
want
nice
to throw
luxury
it.
to have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't see, again, it would have to be a king's ransom to get Jalen Ramsey off this football team, and I'm not doing it. Yep. I think the one thing people are missing on the Jalen Ramsey front, and I think Shad Khan is not missing it at all. This is what I love about the guy. He knows it's bigger than football with Ramsey. Mm-hmm. It's the brand. He helps them. You have to do everything you can. If Jalen Ramsey is not on this football team end of the month, end of the year, next year, well, I think Shad Khan really has to look himself in the mirror on that beautiful Kismet and say, we did everything we could to try to keep this guy. We knew how important it was. It's not like we wanted to do this, not like we wanted to get rid of him. This just became a toxic situation. He wanted out. It didn't matter if I gave him the Kismet, he wasn't going to stay here.
Yeah.
You know, I think he has to be able to say that to him. And I'm with Shad Khan on that front. I don't think they should get rid of this guy. I think they should get him on the field whenever he's healthy, get on the field, play, and maybe something smooths out along the way. Yeah. Buy me some more time for something to smooth out. I think there's a better chance. This is a good way to ask it. Is there a better chance right now from a Jalen Ramsey front that things smooth out or get toxic? In my opinion, I think there's a better chance something can work out with the Jags in the long term, then it becomes so toxic that you just got to ship his ass out of here.
Well, that's the thing, especially if they're winning, right? Like, winning is the ultimate prescription for, to have the locker room be on the same page. And I think if they keep winning, they keep having success, absolutely. And if you're Shad Khan, look, I get it. He's a businessman. You got to think about the dollar signs as well. How could you not if you're the owner of a franchise? But the way I see it, just from a wins and losses perspective, Brent, we talked about the Patriots being a good defense today. We talked about the Saints being a good defense. Again, the Saints have given up a lot of yardage per game, but that defense has really kept Teddy Bridgewater above water. Right? No pun intended, I guess. But
that was very well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we also talked about the Carolina Panthers. They have a really underrated defense as well. Well, what do those guys all have in common? They all have a top corner. The Patriots, they have Stephon Gilmore. The Saints, they have Marcus Lattimore. The Panthers, Bradbury, who's really coming on now. They're really high on him. They drafted him pretty high a couple years ago. He's kind of been an okay player. He's ranked number 1 right now on say what you want about it, on Pro Football Focus at the corner position. All elite corners, all pretty solid defenses. It's a direct correlation. If you lose Jalen Ramsey, you lose the wins. If you lose the wins, you lose the hype. And if you lose the hype, you lose the dollars, man. It's simple as that.
Yeah, well said. Jalen, by the way, still number 84 on the corner list on Pro Football Focus.
Oh, I think that was Pro Football Focus, but that was more about Marcellus. What was it? Is it Marcus Wiley? Is it Marcellus Wiley?
Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah, Marcellus Wiley, yeah.
Hey, what are a note? You talk about a good corner. I don't think we're giving enough love to Boye. Boye the last couple of weeks, I think, has played well. Now, he hardly got tested. He got off that rub play he was part of.
It's a hard play, dude, let's be honest. Yeah.
So, but other than that, I feel like Boye has been pretty good unless I'm missing something.
No,
the last couple of weeks.
You're absolutely right. We talked about Emmanuel Sanders having the big game. And granted, Sanders got the ball out of the slot and things, but I think for the most part, A.J. Boye, whoever he was on, kept that guy in check.
Here's an update. Atlanta leads the St. Louis Cardinals 1-0, top of the third. That game will be joined in progress right here on ESPN 690 coming up in about 12 or 13 minutes. Cardinals and Braves, game number 1 of the divisional series. 6 o'clock right here on ESPN 690, home of the baseball playoffs, ESPN 690.
The question I was hanging on to, talking about the Florida Gators, getting ready to take on the Auburn Tigers, their college game day, big events Saturday. Am I wrong to think, though, that's a big football game? But it's just kind of been the dullest college football season so far that you can remember. I mean, I get it. Michigan's playing Iowa this weekend. Does nothing for me. And, I look at the schedule here, Brent, this week, and that's about it, man. We're into week 6 right now.
There are some folks that around here that are just diehard college football fans, and I appreciate it. And this is not a knock on them, but I rub shoulders with some of them too. And I said, this has been, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been a boring college football season to this point. Mm-hmm. And I think the answer to that is it has.
Okay.
So that's let's talk more about that tomorrow. We'll get into it a little bit more. But I do think it has been. Now, there's reasons for it. One, they spread it out a little bit more. They started that Florida-Miami game early, right? A week early. to celebrate the 150th college football season.
Was it that, or was it celebrate the term Week 0 that drove everybody nuts?
Yeah, it was to trademark that. But they also they were just hit and miss weekends. It's so spread out now when good teams play good teams, and I think it's also, and again, I said we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but I'll give you one more thought on it.
Yeah.
Well, go look at the ACC. Who's good? Clemson's supposed to be great. Yeah. They haven't shown they've been great. Go look at the SEC. Okay, I'll give you 4 or 5 teams that are good. Sure. I'll also give you 4 or 5 teams that stink, like flat out stink. Like I'd trade UCF for them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Go give me the Big Ten. Same scenario. Pac-12, you might say that about every team. We're not even sure. And the Big 12 has the same thing. I just think if we're looking for, we live in a parity kind of world. We love, like college basketball's been better because, well, it's not that far-fetched to see a 13 seed beat a 4 seed anymore.
Correct.
Well, right now in college football, and again, it's kind of a year cyclical type of thing, but college football, there's not a lot of parity. That's why we went into the season thinking Clemson and Alabama were destined to go.
Yeah.
Now at least we've stretched it to 5 or 6 teams that might be able to win the whole thing. But there's not enough of them right now, and I think the depth even drops off more, alarmingly enough, once you get past like the 15th ranked team in the country. But 15 and the rest, there's another drop-off.
Yeah.
Or whatever the number. Maybe it's 17 and the rest. But it's just not good on a whole. And I think that's causing some really weak matchups overall. I mean, heck, who thought the best game last weekend would be North Carolina-Clemson? They kind of got lucky with that.
Yeah, they really did.
You know?
Yep.
So it's a good point, though. We'll talk more about it as it's been a dull college football season to this point. But October is the month where it does usually ramp up.
For sure.
It's ramping up for the Florida Gators. When we come back, stay in your lane. A thought on AEW. I want to get your thoughts on it. Was it
and
good?
I will share it.
Bad? What can they do better?
Yeah.
Where does it go from here? Yeah, we might talk a little bit of wrestling. And then Braves baseball coming up at 6 o'clock on ESPN 690.
Also, I have a really crazy Bill Belichick story to share.
Oh.
You are not ready for this one.
Should I put my hoodie up?
Yeah. You really should. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Can't wait. It's next.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Timmy Kirkchin, our fine Major League Baseball analyst. Aaron Boone, he talked about it, maybe a mercy rule at some point.
It makes a little bit of sense now. But I'm worried where we are right now that there are so many blowouts. That's just not healthy for the game. So I know what Boone's talking about here. I don't think it'll get any traction, but I guarantee you somebody's going to ask that question within the Major League Baseball offices.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
So your team scores. Suddenly you're best friends with perfect strangers. Tullamore Dew calls these friendships fanships. When the game is on, order a Tullamore Dew, the original triple-blended, smooth-sipping Irish whiskey for the person next to you. This game day, grab a Tully and strike up a fanship at...
Find Tullamore Dew in Jacksonville at Hoptinger Jacks Beach, Hoptinger 5 Points, and H. Jopton.
When it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof, 2019, imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc.
Outspoken Hollywood actresses, a former Nobel Prize nominee, and security and terrorism experts are coming to Jacksonville for one evening only on Saturday, October 26. Military honors will be presented for our veterans lost on September 11, 2012, while serving in Benghazi at the 7th Annual Tribute Ceremony. Music will be performed by recording artist Ann Wolfe. The tribute includes commentary from some of the most knowledgeable experts in America on our nation's security, terrorism, and its heroes. This is your chance to find out what's happening all over the country. A VIP reception to welcome prominent national speakers at Jacksonville will precede the event. You can get tickets to this special evening and the VIP reception by Googling We Can Be Heroes in Jacksonville. Discounts for seniors, veterans, and first responders are offered. Seating is limited. Please Google We Can Be Heroes in Jacksonville for tickets for this special event being held on Saturday, October 26. See you there.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany.
Here.
Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities and schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesandschools.org.
Golick and Wingo.
I think my jersey was one of the top-selling jerseys around the world, and I didn't make $1 from it, but nor did I want to.
I respect Tim Tebow. I respect his opinion. I love his passion. I just could not disagree with it more.
Golick and Wingo. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
All right, let's get to the phone lines real quick on Jalen Ramsey. One final thought here, at least for a Thursday. We never have a final thought on Jalen Ramsey. Antonio's hanging on with us. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for calling in the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So, yeah, I know the Jalen thing's, getting talked, like, to no end, but I've been going back and forth with myself on the whole issue, and I keep asking myself, like, should we just let the dude go? Like, he doesn't want to be here. And I keep coming back to one thought that just I can't let go. And it's the fact that the owners and the organizations can just avoid contracts and let people go whenever they want to. And the players don't have that same right to do that. And it just feels like we're holding Jalen hostage because he doesn't have the same privileges and powers that the organizations do. So it kind of makes me feel sorry for him because if he really wants out, we're kind of holding him hostage, where if it were the other way around, where we don't want him, we can just let him go whenever we want, So I don't know, just what your thoughts are on that. Thanks for the
that's
call.
a good point. Yeah, thanks, Antonio. Appreciate it. It's not a lot different than from a I think it's a totally different context, but not a lot different to me than what we talk about the pay for play and stuff.
Yeah.
When you say, hey, but a kid gets an education.
Yeah.
Okay, they get a free education out of it, but is that enough? Well, the people that Antonio brings up a good point, but it's like, okay, well, he is getting a $27 million contract that he can't get out of. So it's not like he's not getting anything.
Yeah.
But I also understand his point. He's kind of powerless in the whole deal.
Of course, yeah. And, and listen, we have to be careful how we phrase these things, though. Like, I get what Antonio's saying. And the fact that Jalen Ramsey has requested a trade kind of shows you that he doesn't want to be here. But at the same time, I feel like Jalen Ramsey is the type of guy where if he truly doesn't want to be in Jacksonville, if he doesn't want to put on the Jacksonville Jaguars jersey anymore, he'll come out and say it, right? Like, there's a way to slow play and not be a distraction, but there's also a way to get what you want. And at the end of the day, you have to look out for number one, and that's yourself. It's you first. It's just the way it is. That's the way the society is now. And the fact that Jalen Ramsey has never really come out on record in a press conference and said, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like Jacksonville. If you're a Jaguars fan, you can at least take some silver lining in that.
Yeah, the one thought that this could lead to, we just don't have time to it right now, is guaranteed contracts in the next CBA.
Yeah.
Does that eliminate stuff like this? Or lower contracts in their rookie deals, less years on the rookie deals, to give the freedom to be able to get out of a situation you might not like. So those things are up for debate. Unfortunately, we have 3 minutes left in the show, but I appreciate the call, Antonio. Maybe we'll get to it tomorrow or at least down the road. I think we certainly will because we'll have a lot of CBA talk coming up. All right, stay in your lane. You got a couple good ones.
Thank you, man. Yeah, so listen, cruise control, it's obvious, right? We talked about wrestling a little bit, Brent, and last night All Elite Wrestling premiered, and I thought it was a home run. I thought it was a fantastic way to start things off. Thanks for the music there, Kuz. A little late, but it's all right. Try to keep up. You're all good. But I'll tell you what was the coolest part, Brent, was growing up as a kid, some of the fondest memories that I have, with me and my stepdad, it was watching Monday Night Raw, or I was watching WCW Nitro. Like Monday nights, it was the place to watch wrestling, and our house hosted it, much to the chagrin of my mom, because it was past my bedtime. We're up till 10 o'clock watching wrestling, but those are special memories, So Ronan, my 4-year-old son, he's excited because he's a big Cody Rhodes fan. Well, Cody Rhodes was the first match of the night. Fantastic match against Sammy Guevara. And by the time that match was done, it was probably getting towards maybe 9 o'clock or so. And we're kind of winding down. Well, it's a 2-hour show, so it's on till 10. And, my wife's like, all right, time to go to bed. I'm like, hey, Rones, you want to stay up late, man? You want to finish watching this with me? And he actually, he watched a little bit more. So I think the coolest part of it, number one, yes, wrestling's better now because all Elite Wrestling's there. People got to step up their games a little more, including the WWE. Fantastic for wrestling fans like myself. But also, you're on the ground of something new. something new, something fresh, something exciting, and I get to share with my son. So I thought overall, I thought it was a great episode.
Well, not only that, but you said if you really want those parties that happened on your Monday nights, back in Wisconsin, you can have them on Wednesday nights now because you got two different shows on. That are competing against each other. So if you're a rabid fan and you want to have one of those nights, then you go 8 to 12 if you want. You DVR one of them and you watch the rest, right?
And here's the thing: people want to say like, "Oh, all the wrestling's at war with WWE." Well, there's DVR now, so like you can watch both of them. You don't have to just watch one and pick a side. I'm picking both of them, man. Real quick, though, pump your brakes.
Yeah, what's their story?
Bill Belichick. So Julian Edelman is on a YouTube channel coming out here. Julian Edelman shared a story where one of his very first years, he was in the stadium like 11 o'clock, going to go in the hot tub. Sees Bill Belichick on the treadmill. Chooses to go the opposite way. Doesn't want to talk to Bill Belichick because it's awkward. Goes in the hot tub. Bill Belichick's there. Bill Belichick sees Julian Edelman. Belichick gets out of the hot tub completely naked.
Oh, boy.
And to quote Julian Edelman, real quick here, I got it right here. I just so happened to walk by the hot tub and coach is in the hot tub naked. I guess when you're the goat of coaching, you can free ball whenever you want to. Julian Edelman.
Hey, Jaguars All Access tonight with Leonard Fournette, Calais Campbell, Miller, Mushroom, and Avondale. 7 o'clock on Fox 30. I'm headed there right now. We'll see you on TV tonight. Thanks, everybody.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville September 27th, and there's no better time to lock up your seat in the main event